On this week's Talking with Topher.
I don't go near ledges of cliffs. Like, I'll get a good picture.
You don't want a picture for the gram, bro?
No. It's like, I don't risk things that much.
We can just mess with people.
Yeah.
Like, he'll serve the table. I'll go drop the check. We'll see if they notice. You know, we'll just keep switching
That's fine.
back.
That's fine. And now let's get into episode 190. What is happening, TwT fans? It is so good to be back on this November 23rd. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. 2023. And as always, I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. Before we get into anything today, let's start out with a thank you. A thank you to all my subscribers, to all the new subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so pleased. I'm so thankful. It's amazing. You are all amazing. I want you to know that right now. And remember, subscribe. That's right. You just stopping by, checking out the podcast. Maybe somebody sent you that Linktree link. You need to be hitting that subscribe button. It's what helps make the podcast bigger. And of course, everything everybody does keeps me coming back week after week. If you're looking for an opportunity to tell your story, or maybe you have a story that needs to be heard, send it on over to the official email of the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. That's talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Linktree. Yeah, here it is, right here. It's actually in the description below the video. Click that link. It's going to give you access to everything TwT. It's just that easy. All the social, all the platforms. Go follow, subscribe, and do all the things to make the podcast bigger. And of course, it is now the easiest way for all of you out there to share this podcast. Copy that link, share it with everyone you know, and hopefully they'll like it as much as you do. And now you've all been waiting for this podcast. It's Thanksgiving, and I know you're probably stuffing your face with some turkey dinner or ham or whatever you feel like eating this holiday season. I don't even know if it's traditional anymore. But I have guests. That's right. Not one, but two on this podcast. And we talk about so much, but the most important thing that I want everybody to know about is sg603. That's right. They're on Spotify and YouTube. They got music videos. They got tracks. This group is getting bigger and bigger, and I couldn't be more proud to have these two members on my podcast. So instead of me rambling on and on and on like I always do, let's get into today's podcast with my guests, Rowan and Alder. Rowan, Alder.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. This is probably my biggest monster I've ever set up, and I'm really excited for it. But like we were just saying, we've known each other for years now. You guys used to be customers at New Hampshire Vape Gallery.
Yep.
And I wanted to have you on the podcast to talk more about sg603. And what you guys are doing today. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Instagram, a lot of the production stuff that Adam's doing, the videos that you guys are putting out, the collaborations that you're doing, the parties that you're putting on. And I want to hear more about that. And then, some stuff about you guys and see how things have been going and what's going on in your lives today.
Awesome.
So let's start there. What is happening in your world today?
Yeah, so I know we've known each other a long time now. I think when we started, seeing you over there at Smoke and Vape, We are still on SoundCloud with sg603.
I gotta correct you just because I want to give Joe the shout out. It is New Hampshire Vape Gallery.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Vape Gallery.
Yeah.
Vape Gallery.
Yeah. The Vape Gallery.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we started, I think when we like met you guys there, we were still on SoundCloud. We were just starting out with sg603, actually taking it more seriously. And then in 2019 is when we dropped our first song on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
So that was when we officially like got our music on all platforms. So Spotify,
2019.
2019.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
So 3 years after I had already known you.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yup,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
So when we first met, we were still like in the starting stages of sg603. And now, I mean, it's 2023 now.
Yeah.
Right? Towards the end of it. And our second song, The Beast, I'm sure you've heard that one time or another, but that one just passed 1 million on Spotify.
Did it?
So that's our second song to pass 1 million. So it's not like, you know, our music has been out there for too long already, and we're already seeing, you know, a great response. So
that's
how we're
amazing.
doing as of right now, like in today's age. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a huge shift. I mean, I remember back then, we were just coming into the vape store, you know, having fun with Adam, just kind of making music, you know, doing our thing. And it's just crazy how much it's grown since then. And it's a huge blessing. We can have people all across the world that can be listening to our stuff. Looking through the stats, we have so many different cities in all these different countries. So it is just a crazy feeling waking up and knowing stuff that we created just with Adam having fun was the sole purpose. And then we realized we can make a difference with it. So, I mean, to actually be doing that and to be having people, you know, really being impacted by our creations, just a next level feeling, you know, when really in the beginning it was just all for fun and just to express ourselves too, you know what I mean? Just be creative and have fun. You know, we've always loved music, so things are just going great. It's been time flies. It goes quick,
I mean,
you know?
it never slows down. It
It's
just
unreal.
keeps going faster.
It gets
and
faster. It definitely does. And
I gotta make a slight adjustment.
you got it.
sure.
I had the
I love stuff
you can like tilt that mic a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Like that, yeah. More closer to me, like
well,
this.
no,
Like
go like that.
like that.
Yeah. Because you
Perfect.
don't have to bend. You don't have to bend down to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mic, but
Yeah,
you just
just
gotta
make it
keep it in
comfy.
front of your face.
No, for
I
sure.
had the
Yeah.
internet yell at me last time. I had a guest on. They were very upset that the quality of the sound was not so hot, and I was
Yeah,
like, all right,
yeah.
I'll fix it this time, internet. sorry.
Yeah,
But no,
gotta
it's
make sure.
It's absolutely amazing to see what you guys started and to see what it is now. Like the is it a glow party that you guys do? Is
The glow party.
Is that your thing, or is that something that you guys were just a part of that happens like once a year?
So, shout out DJ Chad Banks.
Yes.
There you go.
He's the one, he's doing the music at the glow party. So it was really a collaboration between us. We've known him from previous events. He does a lot of stuff in Portsmouth, the Seacoast area. He's really well known. Great guy. So we wanted to link up with him, and we did the first glow party. That one was sold out. It was an incredible night, really bustling. I think the venue was really happy with how it all turned out, so that's what started it out. And I think we've done 4 already, and every one has been, you know, like a sold out show, a really great night. You know, young people our age, we have like our mom came, some of her friends will come and have a good time. It's very inclusive. Everyone can come.
Oh,
and,
that's awesome.
Just party, man. So it's been going great. We're just trying to plan another one, and that's at the press room right in Portsmouth. So that's like
in
a
Portsmouth.
Yep,
Okay.
Exactly,
Shout out the
exactly.
press
Shout
room.
out the
Yeah,
press
shout
room.
out Tristan, DJ Tuggy. There's a lot of great talent that's going through there. So DJ Chad, we've known him for years and years, just like you. We even did some very low-key shows with him where he was the DJ back in the day. So, I mean, we've been friends now. Like, it's crazy to put into perspective. It's probably been, 6-5 years of knowing him and him seeing us grow as well. So it's awesome to be able to have the glow parties where it's a mix. So we'll go on and do our music and do a set, and then he also will do more of EDM, maybe some more dancey stuff. So it's just like a universal night, people who like hip hop will love it. People who love to dance will be there. Just all about having fun, no bad vibes allowed. And it's always such a good time. So
yeah, I mean, it looks like a great time. I've definitely seen the posts and all the stuff going on, and it just keeps getting it seems like it gets bigger and bigger, and I don't want to speak for Adam, but I do think I remember him telling me at one point that like you guys had so many people showing up that like as people left, like you would let more people in.
Oh yeah,
It was like turnover is what he used.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
like I said, I don't like to speak for anybody, but I was like, I think I remember him at one point in time telling me that like there was so many people and it was a sold out show, but it was like as people were exiting, you were allowing like one or two people to come in to keep that room stocked, and people were just waiting outside waiting for people to leave so that they could get in, which is incredible to hear. You know, you don't to be sitting with you two and to be discussing your music growing and getting bigger and more exposure out there is an honor for me, because I don't know music.
You,
I can't play music. I used to think I could sing, but I realized I couldn't. You know, stuff like that. But like when you're actually doing it. Oh, you're good. To be involved in this, you know, for so long, you know, having Adam on the podcast, I think it's 2 years ago now. But like you said, time flies, and
Definitely.
it's awesome to see where you guys came from, what you're doing, and where you are now. And I'm just friggin' stoked for both of you. I'm stoked for Adam and everything that you guys are doing. That's why I wanted to have you on. I wanted to promote this stuff. It needs to get more ears. You guys need to, you know, you guys are doing good. I want to see it do better. You know what I mean?
So much,
I want to see it just blow up.
Thank you so much, man.
New Hampshire we need stuff like this. We need some positivity in this fucking world that we're living in today, because right now it doesn't seem like there's much positivity right now. I mean, everybody's fucking unhinged. Every country wants to fucking blow up the next one, and everybody wants to fucking release a nuclear bomb because it's just tactical. It makes no sense to me. That's literally the end of the world. And it's like when I see things like this happening, I'm like, oh my God, we need this in our lives. We need to discuss these things. We need to have these conversations, and we need to be knowing. We need to know that there is positive shit in this fucking world today, with all of this chaos and negativity around us that the news only wants to highlight.
So true. Yeah. You know, we're in a time where it's almost so highlighted, like the negativity and the bad things that are going on. And we're in the service industry, so that's the one thing about us on our personal lives. That's what we do for work, because we make music, but we still have a full-time job because, you know, we want to make revenue, we want to invest into our dreams and set up a master plan so that maybe eventually, you know, we could be creating full-time and maybe traveling, doing what we please, you know? So in the restaurant, it's great because it's almost your way of creating a little ripple, like you're saying, and, you know, showing the world that there's positivity. Because sometimes you might get a guest that comes in and you can tell they are maybe having a bad day or they have some stuff going on, because everyone does, you know? We're all dealing with our own issues, you know? And you can almost transmute that experience.
Yeah.
At the end of the meal, they're happy, they're filled, they're nurtured. That's really like what you're doing. And then they could go and have a great day, and then maybe even spread that ripple. Yeah. And that's, you know, really what we're into is like, if you could just go and spread a ripple, and that can just go farther and wider, this world, you know, could get a lot better. So, and we're not perfect. I'm not a guru on the mountains or anything, but I try my best every day. And sometimes, you know, I realize that I could do better, but I think that's everyone, and just being conscious of that and realizing that we're all in this together. You know, we're just little pieces of each other.
Yeah, we really are.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And
it's just a one love thing, you know?
I agree with what he's saying in the regard of, you know, working with people. It almost makes making the music, the people, more of our priority, and we love the stuff that we're creating. We see the potential it has to impact people in a positive way, and that's just what we want to do. You know, we don't want our stuff, we don't want to be, you know, whatever A-list celebrities and have all like these eyes on us. We just want to create something that can impact the world in a good way. You know, we're not clout chasers. I'd say we're pretty humble for like where we are, you know what I mean? We just want to make everyone feel included. And I think going back to the glow party, that's another big thing, is everyone feels included.
Yes.
They feel seen, they feel appreciated, no matter, you know, who you are, what you got going. Like everyone just comes together for a great night, and that's what our music stands for, man. I think there's just a lot of negativity pushed, you know, on the mainstream, whether it's the news or even just the type of music and content being promoted by the different algorithms, you know, mindless things, just negativity in general, whereas then, you know, we're coming speaking a positive message, and you kind of see how the algorithm treats stuff like that, right?
mean,
it isn't
just like we were
promoted
talking
when it's
about.
genuine and organic, because in today's, you know, in today's society, it's like, oh, that's corny.
No,
you know what I mean? It's corny to
it-
be like, to care and
Yeah,
to have
to
a
care.
heart.
It
and to,
bases
you know-
everything off of controversy.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
bases everything off of difference of opinion. So if you put something out there that is going against a narrative, it loves that. But
Yeah.
like when you're
Yeah.
but when you're trying to be positive and show people that there's more, you know, like this podcast here is mostly about struggles in life and coming out on the other side of being a better person and finding your weaknesses and turning them into strengths instead of allowing the weaknesses to label you and be stuck with it. And I find that it's tough to get that message out because they don't really care for it. You know, they want you to talk about Lady Gaga doing bad things, or that fat lady that, you know, made all of her people, the dancers or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, like the Lizzo.
Yeah,
scandal or
Lizzo, there
whatever
she
it
is.
was. You
Yeah,
see in
yeah.
the
She's
news,
calling
yeah.
everybody fat and this and that, and she's
Yeah.
fucking huge. And it's like, and that's what they want. They love that. It
Yeah.
feeds this fuel, this anger.
Mhm.
And it's like, I feel like they really do want to pin us all against each other. For some weird reason, they
Absolutely.
think that that's going to be a better solution than all of us working together and being happy.
Yeah.
They would rather have us all miserable, and that way they can control us, because in the end of the story is you will be happy and you will have nothing.
Yes. Yeah. And that's 100% true. I think it's obvious. And I think there's people out there, there's, what is it, the Agent Smiths, where they love the
Yeah.
system, and they love the system at police. But I think it's pretty obvious to anyone with open eyes just sitting back that there's an obvious system at police to keep people in a lower vibrational state, or just low, not feeling good, whether it be diet, you know, because nowadays health foods are very expensive. So if you're low
Yeah.
income, it's hard to be healthy.
Well-
And then that leads to health issues. You know, maybe you don't have insurance. It's a full system, and it just keeps like almost going deeper and deeper of keeping us lower and down. And like you said, being manipulated, being controlled. And I think nowadays too, there's the over idolization too, because what we create, I want it to impact people, and I want people to feel good from it. And if you love what we create, thank you so much. You know, I appreciate everything. But I never want to be idolized in a sense where almost someone is obsessed about what I'm doing, is more concerned about what I'm doing in my life than what they're doing in their life. And I think
Yeah.
nowadays
Strange.
we're in a strange time where it's like, oh, Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. It's like, it seems people almost care about that more than their dreams and aspirations
Yes.
and what's going on within themselves. And I think we're in a time where they want us to look outwards, because I think the answers are really within yourself, and going deeper really is the way out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Because like
yeah.
if you notice the way things go, and even today, if you are on a certain scale, I mean, to even be able to go to fast food today is almost impossible.
Yeah.
It used to
Yeah.
be like, oh my God, those people are fat, and it's because they're poor and they can't afford anything, and they have to go eat at McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh my God, like you almost have to be like you have to have some money
Yeah.
to be
yeah.
able to go do that today.
Absolutely.
Spend $30-$40 at fast food joints.
It's
nowadays.
crazy
Back in the day,
what you
it's
can
crazy.
spend at a McDonald's today.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think I don't eat there personally. Nothing against it, but it's just not good for you.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
at the end of the day, I remember $1 would get you something, maybe $1.09.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
And now I
90
don't-
It
Yeah,
was
you gotta
still
make double.
there was still the dollar menu.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
don't.
back-
I've heard from most of the people that I work with today that go out and eat a lot. There's nothing like that anymore.
Oh yeah,
You-
absolutely not. I think it's like it might be $2.19 now for just like a McDouble. over there at McDonald's.
Which is
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. It's
Which is
yeah.
And the
absolutely
wages aren't
insane.
going up much, and that's the
Oh
thing.
no!
It's-
Well, I've already had my ass handed to me about the wages. We can't up the wages because as soon as we up the wages, everybody's going to up their prices so they can get the profits back because that's all that matters. So therefore, it's just this endless cycle of turning the wheel
Yeah.
where we get more money, but then they up everything and it takes the money away from us. And there's no way to fix that except for the simple fact that like we just need to put corporations on their knees and we need to get them to stop chasing their profits for their stockholders, and we need to get them to realize that you make enough money.
Oh,
You don't need to make billions and billions every single year. Like you should be happy with billions once a year. You should just be happy with that, and then allow the extra that you're getting to go into the people that are making this happen for you, and then everybody makes it to the top. But instead, our government just allows these motherfuckers to do whatever they want and to squish us, and they're happy with it. I mean, look at everything today. Housing market, food. I mean, the whole industry behind our health is to keep us sick.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Nothing is built to keep us healthy and prospering. It's to keep us sick and down.
Yeah,
And it's really sad in a sense when you start thinking about it. You're like, this is sad.
Yeah. And I think that in our process of kind of awakening to these facts and, opening your eyes, kind of uncovering the veil, is I think balance is important because we were really on the conspiracy stuff, really going deep into it. And I think that we kind of came to the realization it's all the balance, which wolf are you feeding? Because that sadness and kind of the despair, seeing the way the system is set up, to keep the 1% or the 99% while the 1% are rich, they have control of most of the money on the planet, really delving deep into those things. And I think that is why there is such a large conscious depression, because people feel powerless in a system that was kind of built against the average working man like you and I, and it was built to keep corporations rich. CEOs of corporations rich. We have people playing with balls that are making millions of dollars while there's people without, clean water.
Yeah.
And they're starving. They don't have enough to eat. There's a disparity. And I think waking up to it, that's a large reason why I think people can get really, really down about it, whereas
Definitely.
you see ignorance is kind of bliss, because the people that are over there watching the guys play with balls, drinking Bud Lights, they're not thinking about those things. So they're not really, having to deal with the emotional impact of being really, feeling that on a world level.
But on the other side of that coin, I feel like those people have the biggest voice sometimes.
Yeah.
Where they're the ones screaming about stupid shit.
Yeah.
They're the ones helping the propaganda get spread even further.
Yeah.
So true.
And it's like you guys don't understand what's happening here. You don't understand that everything that they're doing is actually hurting us.
Yeah.
It's not helping at all.
Yeah.
Nothing that they're doing is helping. It's just keeping the war machine fed. And it's keeping us all suppressed.
Yep, and distracted. It's really just everything. Like, I think that one time me and him together, we ate a good amount of mushrooms, and we were just thinking, you know what I mean? We were doing a lot of contemplation about life and the world and society. And I kind of got really, really like worked up, kind of freaked out about it, because it was the distractions.
Yes.
And there's so many distractions out here. There's TV and movies and football and, so many things that keep us from going, like he said, within ourselves and thinking really deeply about the plot. How can we, win at this game? Because it's like the system is set up like a game.
Yes.
And I think there's people that have spent so little time doing that soul searching, in silence without distractions, where it's kind of, that's when the system can kind of manipulate and program you. And so now you're kind of a product of the system without taking the time to step back from it and kind of look at it like it's more of it's a setup and it's a game, and it's like kind of makes you think, is there someone watching this whole thing going down? Is this a test? Are there aliens watching to see kind of how stupid humanity can be on a broad scale, man?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
when are like the people going to wake up, and when is there going to be big change? Like, how long will 99% of the world's population allow 1% of it to control everything? Like, I
Absolutely.
feel
And
like it's a, like, I get trippy sometimes just thinking about it. Like, is this some sort of, set up like a social experiment?
Well, I never
It's-
used to be into the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
thing. I thought it was silly and stupid. And you know what? I actually veered away from calling it that now.
Yeah.
Because I don't consider
you
it to
should.
be a conspiracy anymore.
Yeah.
Because the more that you actually look into these things, the more that you question it, and me and Michael Firth have done like 4 or 5 podcasts about this stuff lately, and there's so much more truth to any of that than everything that they're trying to feed us.
So true.
And it's like the more you dig into it, the more truth you start finding, and the more real that is compared to everything that they've been feeding us on the news,
Yeah.
which is just propaganda and bullshit.
Definitely.
And it's and like, I don't know, I don't want to get too political, but some of the politicians out there now, there's a couple of them, very few names escape me. I'm really bad at them, as you both realized when I couldn't remember your names, and I'll be honest about that. But I was like, oh my God, like this woman who wants to run for president wants to like basically shut down like CNN and Fox and shut these people down because she's like, this is just wrong. It's all wrong. And she wants to change a bunch of stuff. And I was like, holy shit. So I started digging into her a little bit. And where she wants to take the country is a complete 180 from where everybody else wants to take it. And I don't believe that. I mean, it's so hard to say that nobody wants war because it really sounds like everybody wants to go to war. Not the people in this room right now, but I'm just saying our government, the people that lead this country, they want this. They want this. They want Ukraine and Russia fighting. They want the Israel and these people, the Palestinians. They want this. They want it all. They want to be involved in it because then we can start, getting more money and getting all this funding and But what does that do for everybody?
Yeah, it's a huge disconnect because I think a lot of these politicians, they have these big, maybe arms dealing corporations. What is it? Lockheed Martin, all these different ones that they make money off of worldwide conflict. So then it's funny you see that then politicians, they have money in their back pocket from these same corporations. So it's almost like, I've seen a meme before and it was like, can we put politicians in a NASCAR setup with all of the corporations that sponsor them?
Holy shit.
And so you can see how all these politicians, and I think that's why there's a big conspiracy, like, people in the government are aliens or reptiles, because there's just that huge disconnect, no empathy. They all can make their millions. They can run how things work, but they're not thinking about any other humans out there. And I think that trickles down too. And I think it's sad how nowadays people, they go on living every day and they might not even care about other people out there. And, I respect everyone's opinion, but we're all humans and you got to care for each other. And if there was more of that in the world, even just on like a person to person basis, that's how things improve. I think inwardly you do the work and then you can go and spread it, like I was saying earlier. But there's just a huge disconnect where some of these people, they just are almost villains in this world. Really, they destroy the environment. They're pro-war. They make money. They don't want to share it. It's just a very weird thing. And like you was saying about just like, how is this even happening? How did it get to this point? It's crazy to think. But I think it's just people being manipulated, dumbed down, the system in place. It just goes deep. It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, because the more power we give the government, the less we have. Because we allow them to take it away. Just like all of this shit when they made up the 6-foot rule, when they deemed outside dining to be dangerous. And it was like, now it's just the new common cold.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. Now people are probably looking back and they feel like, wow, I got manipulated.
I got manipulated.
Yeah, you know,
I
and
got kind of took by the medical system who said,
Yep.
you know, or people even that needed to go to university or college or say their work had a mandated vaccine too.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because there are definitely
Yeah.
people who weren't really trusting of it, but said, you know, like, can I afford not to have a job right
Right.
now? Absolutely not. So I have to get vaccinated.
Yep.
You know, it's like the medical system and then like the government all being connected and then being able, you know, to kind of keep you in that trap where it's like you have to get vaccinated just to survive. Whereas luckily, we didn't have to.
See,
And,
good for you.
We didn't have any family that really, you know, was like forced us.
Yeah,
Because we were
yeah.
still living at home, like with our parents at that point. We just kind of stayed away from them,
Yeah.
you know, to keep everything safe.
Right. Because, you know,
Because our dad's an old guy too, so just to be
Right,
safe,
but-
we want to, you know.
But the whole thing about that irritates me, and it was the same thing that happened to me too, is that like I felt nervous to go visit my grandmother.
yeah,
And we should have never felt that way.
Yeah, so true.
It didn't matter how old or how young you were, because it was just another cold
yeah,
at the end of the day. And it's like, I got duped into it because they were like, hey, get 2 of these and you can take your mask off. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'm so sick of having all of my customers, please put your mask on. Please put your mask on at the time. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to say this anymore. So I'll go and get these 2 stupid shots, and then I can finally take mine off, and then I don't have to care whether or not you're wearing one. Because I actually did think that they were doing something. And now the studies are crazy against them. Like the N95, which was supposed to be the safest mask that you could wear,
Doesn't even.
you're only supposed to wear it for 1 hour. If you go past an hour, you are hurting your respiratory system.
Yeah, wow.
So,
that's
so when you
crazy.
start seeing these studies pop up and you start seeing the facts and the fucking science behind it, you go, oh shit, they had no idea what they were talking about. They when they were coming up with the 6-foot rule, it was supposed to be 60 feet, but they couldn't do 60 feet. So they just came up with a fucking number and they were like 6.
yeah.
That'll be good. We'll keep people 6 feet apart because we can't. We literally can't do 60.
Yeah.
So that was the true number, was 60 fucking feet.
My God.
And then they voted on 6.
Yeah.
So all these things that happened over that course of time ruined so many lives.
So many businesses shut down, mom and pop businesses.
I mean-
it could have been going for 4 generations, American raised, and
Yep.
that, you know, everyone, made in America, gotta support Americans. That's literally who was affected by
Right.
it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
they were all crushed.
it's so sad,
Absolutely.
you know, it's a
And now
sad
those
thing.
are the people losing their shit. Those are the people that are shooting these fucking places up.
Yeah, mental health.
That fucking shooting in Maine, you're going to tell me that guy didn't lose more than he thought he could handle? I really don't believe that these people are out there just doing this for no fucking reason. I believe that they feel that they've lost so much that they're like, I just don't give a fuck anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. This is what I'm going to go do because this is how you've all made me feel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sad. It's disgusting, and I don't condone it. I want that to be very known.
Oh,
It's just a
absolutely,
simple
absolutely.
fact that these people have gone through too much. Too much. There's so many people, like, I look at myself and I go, okay, I made some really big decisions to change things around, right? There was people that didn't have that opportunity. They didn't have the opportunity to be able to change their financial situation. They didn't have a job that was willing to pay them while they were shut down.
Yeah.
They didn't have certain things in place, and it's not their fault.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The companies probably weren't prepared for this. The small mom and pop couldn't make it through
Just
this.
can't afford it.
Can't afford to not be making money for several days in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Let
now
alone like 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Because it was a long time.
a
where there was
lot of
lockdown,
the
so-
restaurant industry got hit like one of the hardest,
Yeah.
you know, and if it wasn't for like curbside and pickup and stuff like that, and being able to serve people through a window like New Hampshire Vape Gallery did, I don't know what would have happened to us.
So true.
You know, we had to make some big decisions to figure out how to still make money, you know, and that was something that some people couldn't do. And then you've got the mandated vaccines, which we were just touching on, that people lost their job because they didn't go and get this thing that was not approved. And it was just
experimental.
Yes, thank you.
Experimental.
Who wants an experimental thing? I didn't want it. You know, right now I'm on, I think, 28 months since my second shot, maybe 29 at this point. And they said after 28 months of the second shot, the spike protein is supposedly to leave your body. That was injected into you. And so now I have to go and have a blood test done to see whether or not the spike protein is still in my body. And if it's not, great. I'm never fucking getting anything that has to do with this bullshit again. I still haven't even caught the fucking thing.
Wow.
So I don't even know really anything about it. I don't know why I haven't gotten sick in over 4 years. I don't know what the hell's going on. So it's really weird to me. But I don't believe that the vaccine did anything for me. I believe my health and the way I act and how active and what I do on a daily basis, I believe that's what kept me from getting sick, period. I wasn't one of those people that got sick all the time. Maybe I would get sick for a couple days once a year.
Definitely.
It wasn't like something where like I was sick all the time. You know what I mean? I know a bunch of people that get sick, you know, as soon as the weather changes.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Everybody's immune system is different. I'm not saying I'm above anybody. I'm not above anybody. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, I still don't even know what the actual virus itself is like.
Okay, so
You know-
I can tell you about it because we got
Sure.
COVID.
Yeah.
So
Let's
COVID
discuss
twice.
it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So we got COVID twice, and I will say that it was just like another cold. You know,
Yeah.
it was just a new one. So I feel like you kind of had to adjust to it. But I will say though that when I had COVID the first time, a lot of spine pain.
Okay, I've heard of
A
that.
lot of pain throughout my spine, all throughout my lower back, through my legs, very tight in pain. And then I remember, too, I will say that it was a very strange, like, mental side of it, too. Like, with a usual sickness, you just kind of feel like crap. With this one, I feel like I was, like, having nightmares with it. You know, I was, like, going stir crazy. I couldn't sleep well. It was, like, a very strange virus. And that's another reason I was saying, like, honestly, I can see this being created in a laboratory because it doesn't feel like any other sickness. It isn't that extreme, but it just had that weird, like, newness to it. It's, like, hard to
Really?
describe, but it was a very strange feeling.
Yeah, it was like the mental aspect of it you could feel from the virus. We were both saying, like, yeah, you could see someone in a lab trying to replicate something, and, like, it just had a weird energy to it when we were sick with it.
Really?
Where
So,
it felt like more like it was like a half mental thing too. Like we didn't want to post our music, we didn't want to write any music. Like
Really?
obviously we were sick, but it's
yeah.
like you still have time on your phone. You still have time to do the things like you would still
But
kind of
you
want to
mentally-
do. But mentally we were just like, you know, completely just not there really.
now what I want to ask, because just for knowledge, I guess, but was it in the beginning? Was it the second variation, third variation?
I think that we got
Do you
'Cause-
remember?
why we both got it twice. I think it was both in the beginning.
Both in the beginning?
I don't
No,
think-
you know what? It was a little bit later on because I remember the lockdown was right around March.
March.
It was March. So
Yes.
no, it was probably then 8 months ish later, 7 months later because we got it right around New Year's.
Oh, yeah, we had a New Year's
okay,
COVID
okay.
party.
So that was
Yeah.
the second variant.
Yeah, so I think
That was
might
the
have
that
been-
was
Yeah.
the second variant.
It was a Delta, is maybe
Yes,
what it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think it was Delta
variant.
because Omni was after that. Which
Yeah, the Omicron.
the way a virus works is that it becomes less deadly and more contagious. That's the way viruses always work. So even if it was made in a lab, which we now know to be true, that is not false information. That is actual fact.
Yeah,
And the fact that they shut everybody down, demonetized and didn't allow the lab theory to be a thing also shows how much they want to hide things. That's one of the biggest things for me right now, is that like everything that they demonetize or shut down is got to be the truth. Because why are you shutting it down? Why are you stopping these thoughts from being talked about? Why is it now 3 years fucking later, you're like, oh, you know what? It was a lab. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it was.
And they
this.
silently do it, right? And they
they don't apologize.
Put it online. They don't put it on
Nothing.
the major stations. They silently will put out the statistics that go against the original narrative.
Yes.
But they won't mass publicize it, so then you don't realize that it wasn't true.
Should infuriate all of us.
No, so true.
Absolutely.
So
why
true.
can't you apologize or acknowledge the fact that you were fucking wrong instead of just being like, oh, well, it's not like this anymore. It's like this now.
Yeah.
And you're like,
everything's okay.
And there's
What
the
the
next
fuck?
crisis. There's a next crisis on Earth now, so everyone's we're on to the next thing. We're on to the next distraction. You know, so these things are happening. You don't even have time to react to it because the next crisis has already been created and promoted by the media. So it's like people might be upset about COVID, but now they're upset about the new conflict on Earth. You know, there's not even time.
That's one of the things that drove me crazy, is because once they were elaborating on COVID and being like, okay, it's not this anymore, it's this. We all of a sudden had multiple thousands of fucking heart attacks all over the place. And then they don't want to say anything about heart attacks. They don't want to talk about any of that. So guess what? Hey, war in Ukraine against Russia. Fuck heart attacks. We don't need to talk about heart attacks because now we got to talk about a fucking war.
So true.
And it's like, oh, okay, so that's the way this is going to go? And then all of a sudden, we might be talking about health that, oh, great, we got another war. We got Israel. We got, look at this. Look what's going on in Gaza. Look what's happening here. Let's fight about this now.
Yeah, you know, I was just talking about that the other day when that submersible went down.
Oh, my God.
Right, no, but I was thinking, I was like, you know what? When that submersible went down, I think that was when maybe some stuff was going on behind the scenes. I know Israel got plenty of warnings about things happening. You know, I'm sure... it's all this mass coerced shit, like you're saying, you know, it's all funded by the same elitists, you know, but I was like, maybe that was when things were kind of going on behind the scenes and they didn't want any people to realize it. So what do? You throw like a mass diversion. And I mean, hey, God bless their souls. You know, it's a really sad story. I'm not saying any of this stuff is made up, but then they pick and choose what they want to show you so they can just kind of change the narrative. I mean, everyone was talking about that. You know, every day it was like, did you hear about the submersible? There's got to be something going on.
I did a podcast on it.
Hey, it was an interesting story, and I think it's scary too. It makes you like think like, oh my God, imagine if I was there, right? It's a crazy thing.
Honestly, out of that whole submersible thing, the saddest part was that the son of the father didn't want to be there, and he was only there because it was Father's Day, and he wanted him on that sub. That was the saddest part of that fucking story.
That was a sad story.
Because the mother sat on the shore waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for word that they were going to be alive, and the whole time, it was within the first 9 hours, I think, that there was, you know, because the military has special secret listening devices at the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, they did.
And they heard that implosion about maybe it was 9 minutes in. Like they were so far down, and then they heard a noise.
I think it was 9 hours.
Yeah, okay, was I right?
Because it takes so long to get
down.
Yeah.
But then they heard that, but they were like, no, we're going to keep searching. We're going to keep searching. So this poor mother is just fucking waiting and waiting and waiting. And they were like, oh, no, we did hear it. It was that noise that was 9 hours in. My apology. It's like, Jesus Christ. If that's not the saddest part of that entire fucking story, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's really sad. I'm the type of person where I'm very cautious, you know? It's like I don't go near big machinery if I don't know what I'm doing. I don't go near ledges of cliffs. Like, I'll get a good picture.
You don't want a picture for the gram, bro?
No. It's like I don't risk things that much. So even looking at that thing and being like, okay, you're going to go all the way down where pressure literally makes you implode. You know,
Yeah.
it's so much pressure. So it's just crazy. I would just never. I'm claustrophobic.
Yes.
I'm afraid of the ocean. You know, like I'm still trying to get over.
I'm
a
there
lot of
right
my
with you.
fears, you know, because this world is beautiful. There's so much cool things every day. You could do research and find something amazing about this world, but it's also scary. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot out there. You know what I mean?
I mean, at the end of the day, they have beautiful digital pictures of the Titanic that I can look at on my computer.
So true. Yeah.
And
That's
you know
where I'm
what?
at.
I believe you. It looks great.
Yeah.
I don't need to fucking look at it.
Yeah, and the window was so small too, so it's like it just isn't worth it. You know, like I said, God bless their souls. I mean, it's a very sad situation, but yeah, it's just all almost just they publicize what they want to publicize.
Yes.
They don't want to keep. I mean, I know even there's a media blackout over towards where there's conflict right now, so you don't even know what information you're getting over here is real, and like that's a very dangerous thing, and that's what causes issues here. And like you were saying, just it's the whole system with the mental health thing, you know, wanting to go and harm innocent lives. God bless all of them too. Such a sad situation local to us, which doesn't feel good whatsoever. It's just such a sad thing that people are feeling these ways. People have mental health issues. We need more resources to deal with that. We need that's jobs created. If we had people dealing with mental health patients, but and maybe rehabilitating. You
off
know?
of the mental health thing, there was just an article out, and it makes me so sad to even have to mention this, but BetterHelp has been this thing that all podcasters have been advertising to help people, you know, with mental health and be able to get into therapy. And I'm in therapy. I tell people it's a great thing. You got to give it a chance. Go and check it out. It could be for you or it may not be.
Definitely.
But I just found out that BetterHelp has been using all of these things going on in the world to therefore make their company bigger. And they're literally doing it the wrong way now. And I was blown away at the simple fact that, like, even a company like that takes advantage of these opportunities, and I'll put that in quotations because it's disgusting, that what they'll do is they see these wars going on and they see these shootings happening, so they bombard those areas with their ads.
With the promotions.
With promotions of their ads so that they can get more people to come in because they're like, oh shit, bad shit's happening. We gotta fucking hit them up so that they can. So they're just waiting for the next bad thing to happen so they can promote their business more.
And you know what? And that's the crazy thing is the people at the front end, those therapists that maybe you're talking to, I'm sure they want to help, but that's the system is as you get higher up, the person / the little council, you know, in the dark room with the candles on and cloaks up at the top, they're the ones who don't care at all. You know, it's like, it's just a crazy thing where the therapists you're going and talking to on there, you know, they're here to help. But then that's the thing is you go higher up and higher up, there is no care about mental health. It's always a profit driven.
And there it is again.
You know,
Absolutely.
It's a crazy thing, and I see why you listen to a lot of music. A lot of people say, you know, the money is the root of all evil. I mean, I think, you know, being smart with finances is a good thing, especially nowadays when it can be so hard, you know. But I do agree, like when we're talking about billions and trillions and all of this, there's always something bad involved with it. Like you're saying, you know, war, sickness, all these things. So I mean, it's a crazy time, and materialism to me, I mean, we just really don't care about that stuff, you know. These pants right here, these were designed by Adam, actually.
Oh, really?
Adam. I mean, he's amazing with all of his designs, and like you were saying, with the production, he's been cooking up now. I
know.
It's sounding so good now, you know. He's even sending
really
stuff
legit.
out to bigger artists.
His shit's getting tight. It's getting
he's
tight.
a genius. I mean,
it's
amazing. The way he learns self-taught, he's so good with the music and the theories and, you know, the different sounds and knowing what to do. I feel like with us, we're more just, we have good ears and are good at writing music. You know what I mean? He's definitely like helped so much, but you know, with this stuff, we want to rep our brand, but I'm not going to go and pay money for brand name items or anything like that, or, you know, certain things to almost propel yourself to look
a certain way. You're not going to go out and buy Supreme?
Supreme
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Or Gucci.
Just Louis Vuitton and shit like that.
Just be yourself almost, and I think nowadays everyone says how corny it is to just go out and say that. But I think just who you are as a person and what you do here in the lives that you impact, that's your legacy, and that's what is important. It doesn't matter what shoes you have on. I feel like we could go and buy a whole outfit from Walmart, go into the spot, and if our people are there, it's going to be all love.
It's all the same.
No one cares what, you know.
I agree.
And that's just another part of the system, I mean, like that we've been talking about, you know, for this podcast is just, that's also a thing is almost you got to look good, you know, you got to be pretty. You need likes on Instagram. All these things that, just when you go deeper within, you realize how unimportant.
Well, if you're not doing trends, then you may not be able to come out of stand out from the rest of them.
Yeah,
and I don't do trendy shit. Look, I'm 43. I'm gonna be 44, and well, when this podcast comes out, I will be 44. So this will be coming out about Thanksgiving, I think.
All right, well, happy birthday, man.
Yeah. So, but the way that you're thinking about not buying this trendy bullshit and diving into trends and buying the articles of clothing and shoes and stuff is kind of the way it happens as you get older. Like, I don't give a shit what I look like as long as I'm comfortable and as long as I show up to work. That's all I care about. Like, those are the two attires that I have. I'm either comfortable or I'm dressed to fucking work.
That's
and
like
that's
us
it.
too. That's literally us too.
You know, most of the time, I used to, when I was, how old are you two?
25 now.
25 now? So when I was 25, it was all about trends.
Yeah.
You know, it was all about having the proper clothing, having the cool shit, having all of that. And then now, I just need stuff to survive. You know what I mean? And I need clothes because I need to keep warm or I need to keep decent.
Yeah.
But other than that,
the bare necessities.
It's all it is today.
And
so it's good to hear younger people actually not giving a shit about having the Yeezys and the fucking Louis Vuittons and all the hot shit. Because guess what? You guys are hot shit.
Yeah.
Your music, what you're devoted to and your love for actually shows. And it's, like I said, it's very impressive. It's not something I can do. I'm always like in awe when I hear your music or any musicians, good hits and stuff like that. The new tracks coming out. My friend Tyler writes music. You know, he's not doing it as much as he should or releasing it as much as he should, but he's still doing it. You know, he wrote the intro and outro for this. Hopefully I'll have a new one by the end of this year, but I'm going to have to keep begging him for it, I think.
Tell him to get on it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got to get on it. But, like, that amazes me because it takes a lot to put a track out. It takes a lot to make a track. It takes even more, like, when I have guests on. This right here is very difficult part of podcasting. Just like I'm sure if you've got a track and you have somebody in mind that you want a voice on it, that you got to coordinate. People's schedules are all fucked up today because I believe when all those lockdowns and everything else happened and then everybody changed their life and then they added more stuff into their life that they wanted to do. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, you can go back to work. Everybody was like, I have no time anymore because now we want to do the things that we love doing. And we also have to go do the thing that makes us a paycheck and it keeps us ahead or surviving. For sure. And so with all of that going on, everybody, including myself, went, holy shit, 24 hours in a day is not enough anymore. You know, I have to make choices.
You almost have to make sacrifices sometimes.
Yes. Right now I have to because right now I have, you know, my job and I've got this. So right now Jiu-Jitsu has kind of been put on the back burner for me. And I'm really anxious to get back on the mats.
Definitely.
You know, hopefully today I'll be able to get back on. Have you guys been?
So right now we've taken just a brief hiatus. So we were at Henzo Gracie in Exeter, which has been amazing. Shout out Frank, shout out Dave. Those were our professors, our instructors.
Awesome.
Amazing group of people, just great jiu-jitsu. But since now that we're in Somersworth, we've just been busy with some homeowner stuff, figuring it all out. But now we're going to be going into Nostos MMA, which is right in Somersworth, which looks like a great group of guys and girls. I mean, it's a huge gym.
That's awesome.
They have the mental health matters. They have check on your homies. It seems like such a good community vibe. So we've just been busy with stuff. But I think November 1st, in a few days, we're going to be trying to go in there. They do a little more no gi. They do gi, so I'm excited to get in there and
Yeah.
meet new friends too. It's always great.
Yeah, definitely. So like this last month, just trying to get stuff done around the house, getting more comfortable living in a new area too, because we're originally from Brentwood, so we just now we're in Somersworth. So just getting more comfortable with everything, and then we'll start training there. It's like right down the road. We can run down the hill. Wouldn't even need to drive there.
Oh wow, that's
So,
dope.
yeah.
It's a 2-minute walk.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Get the fuck
Yeah,
out of
So
here.
we're gonna be
crazy.
training pretty consistently
wow.
coming up here. So we're
That's
excited
awesome.
Yeah,
about that.
hopefully maybe getting into striking too. We just had to align it with our schedule just because
Yeah.
they do a lot of classes, because I'd love to learn more striking.
Well, if they're an
and
MMA
Thai,
school,
so-
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
a
and
lot
that-
of their, I think a lot of the striking stuff is at night, and we work nights, obviously, but I think that with all the knowledge there, all the great guys, I mean, I'm sure you could be like, hey, you know, could I get
Well,
striking 101, you know,
yeah,
just
yeah.
some guys to teach you more, and that's what we
Definitely.
like about it, just learning
I
more.
gotta say that like I personally haven't done. I've done one no gi class, I believe, and I've never done the MMA or much striking of any sorts. But most of my training is all jiu-jitsu
Yep.
and all gi.
all
Nice.
gi, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do have to
Traditional,
say
man.
that a lot of today's youth are really getting into that no gi
Yeah.
MMA scene, and I think it's great. Either whatever you're doing, jiu-jitsu is the best.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's no gi or gi. I don't think one's better than the other. I think both of them have amazing potential from
Definitely.
both sides. Like, if you're wearing a jacket and whatever,
Oh, yeah.
I got you all day. But now there's so many people doing no gi
Yeah.
that like you have to learn how to do things without gripping.
Yeah, definitely
You
got to
know?
learn new grips, new ways for submissions, just because you don't have the gi, maybe, all just kind of different variables when
Now,
it comes to rolling. So
when
we
you
don't
guys
do
were
much no gi.
when you guys were first doing it though, you were doing gi, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just trained gi at Henzo's. They do mostly gi stuff, but like after class we would take it off, do some
Oh, you
stuff
would do
without
some
the
no-gi?
gi. We have
Nice.
a buddy we train with, and he's like really into the no gi. He's a big wrestler, so we've been just training with him. But as far as like actual classes go with an instructor, no, we haven't gone to like an official no gi class.
Yeah, it's
so.
fun. It's crazy what, like, when you go from gi to no gi, you're like, oh shit, I don't have a collar to grab. I don't have this to grab.
yeah.
So now you're like 2-on-1 wrist action and slipping an elbow and grabbing on, you know what I mean? So you're like
Slipping in
using
general.
so many different.
Slipping in general,
Dude.
it's so hard to even
Yeah,
like
the
maintain
grips are harder.
dominant position, or like trying to get a submission. It almost like you have to work a little longer. You know what I mean?
You do.
Because I mean, say with a cross collar choke, I mean, you get it right. I mean, they'll tap in a few seconds.
It's
and be like,
over.
okay,
It's
that's good. But with the no gi, I mean, yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are getting into it, because it almost sometimes to me feels a little harder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely much harder.
Yeah.
That's why when, you watch an MMA fight or you watch these things and then you see the keyboard warriors saying certain things, it's like, dude, you have no fucking idea
Oh yeah, they
how
call them
hard
casuals.
that is.
Yeah, they call them casuals nowadays. Is
Oh
what
my
I've seen.
God,
Yeah,
just-
always. Yeah, they love the MMA fighters. They talk about it, but then they might have not even trained anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you really even
My-
put in that perspective? And we're still new to it. We've only been training for maybe 8-9 months.
8-9 months.
A year,
So,
I think,
what are you? Second stripe white?
we have 3 stripes.
3
actually,
stripes?
on
3
ours.
stripes.
So we've
Nice.
done a few competitions too.
Really?
Actually.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we've
we did.
competed a few times. Definitely didn't do
Didn't
great.
do the best, and
but,
I'll say that
it was
right
a great-
now. I'm not
Yeah.
not scared to say that.
Yeah.
Did not do good at all. But I mean, hey,
did
you
not
know,
do
it's a
great.
new
Dude.
environment. We've
I've
never
done one
that.
competition in 9 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going. January 1st will be 10 years for me.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
we've
that's
com-
awesome, man.
We've competed
Awesome.
twice. I think for me, competition, it was just kind of hard, the mental aspect of it. I think we also like, I don't know, it was more just you kind of get into the fight or flight. You treat it
Yes.
more like a fight. And
Oh,
then
you
there's-
should.
Yeah, and then there's like kids there you see where it's like, they don't have full-time jobs. They don't have a music career. Like their whole life is devoted
yes.
to being good at jiu-jitsu. So it's like, I think that kind of
It put into
difference and
perspective.
put it into perspective. Like we're in there, we kind of, we're treating it more like a fight scenario, whereas like you see how composed some of these kids are. They train all day long, they're
Yeah.
used to the competitive grappling. You know, so it kind of just put it into perspective about at least gi competing.
Yeah.
You know?
My professor
Yeah,
would
it was
always
hard.
say when we're in class, we're training, right? And we need to be mindful of our
Definitely.
partner.
Always.
Always be
Always.
mindful of your partner. You never want to. You make
Number
sure
one
of
rule.
injuries.
Yeah.
If you're
Safe
if
training.
you're in a submission and it feels weird.
Just tap.
The person's not tapping, but you know you got it, and it's like you go any further, you're gonna break a shoulder.
just let it go.
You let it go.
Yeah, just
So
let it go.
things like that, they take time to learn. But those are the things that we're supposed to do when we're on the mats because we're all trying to get better. We're not trying to kill each other.
So true.
But
Yeah.
when you're in competition, all of that goes out the window.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is a fight. That other fucking person doesn't give a shit if you tap or not. If he's got something, he's going to go until your shoulder blows out.
Oh, yeah,
So you
for sure.
better tap for your own safety.
Definitely.
But you are correct when you say, I'm in competition. I felt like it was fight or flight. That's because it is.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the way it's supposed to be in competition or on the street.
Yeah, no.
And I think it made it
100%.
harder to just make calculated decisions
Yeah.
where it was like we were treating it more like it was like like a fight. And I think there's a lot of competitors there that were a lot more comfortable. So it didn't kind of trigger that really like, you're treating it like it's like a, fight to the death scenario where it almost, I think competing, you got to just be more calculated within. It's not about, gassing yourself out, trying to, muscle up
Right,
the guy
yeah,
like a
definitely.
fight kind of.
And I think it's control
so.
too, and
Yeah.
I think we realize that as well as like it's a jiu-jitsu competition, you know what I mean? So it's like jiu-jitsu is like what you're doing, and I think that was a little frustrating at times too, just realizing like, I need to work on my self-control because it's like you want to like go further, like, you know what I mean? You don't, like it's jiu-jitsu, but I felt like I wanted to throw strikes, and you know what I mean? Like it was just that like actual, like you're in a full-fledged like battle with someone, which like we don't do a lot in training. Like you said, you might go hard with someone, but you're comfortable with them.
Yes.
When it's against a stranger, there's a lot of other energies
Oh,
that
yeah.
come. So, I mean, I remember, and I'll say this right now, I'm not embarrassed, I remember I had dominant position. I was on mount on this kid, and instead of just going down, maybe doing a nice Ezekiel, slowing it down, putting my weight down, literally just like went in for a murder choke on him and just tried to submit,
Oh,
just something
shit,
like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Just like,
But that's the fight or flight.
yeah, 100%.
So-
First competition, you're like, geez, this kid's trying to like break, like you said, break my arm.
He-
He's trying to choke me.
Oh,
So
100%.
it was just about that like balance and self-control. You know what I mean?
'Cause
I realized.
I
so-
know when like Professor Rick is gearing up for competition, or he's been getting into MMA fights. He's
Nice.
a monster.
Wow, okay,
Rick Hahn
cool.
is an absolute monster. I don't even want to say his age, but I can't believe he's getting into MMA fights again.
Good
It's
for
like
him.
fucking crazy
Yeah.
shit. Like he recently fought for Bellator and somebody else,
Wow.
but now Bellator
Wow.
is no longer existent. They got I think they got bought
Bought
out
out.
by PPF something.
Profession-
PP,
PFL?
PFL.
I think it was
PFL,
yes, I think it was
Fighting League.
yes, I think it was PFL
Yeah,
that
we have a
bought out
buddy that just had a
Bellator.
PFL bout
Well-
at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
Actually.
and then Brendan has been Marat, who I had on. He just had a fight at Combat Zone. Dana White saw him. He ended up going into his first UFC fight.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it didn't go the way he wanted it to, which is fine because he took the fight on short notice.
Oh, I mean,
So
hey,
it
just to get out
just-
there, man, is
Yeah.
amazing.
anybody who takes a fight on short notice and gets inside that fucking octagon is a goddamn animal.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
savage.
Because
Oh, yeah.
there's
Savage.
he had like less than 2 weeks of training, I
That's
believe.
wild.
And if I'm incorrect, you can let me know. But I think it was about 2 weeks worth
Wow.
of training for this fucking
That's
fight.
great. When some people do
So,
a four week long camp.
It was
so-
literally the best scenario for him because he didn't get a full camp. He took a fight on the fly. It didn't go his way, but now he's guaranteed another fight.
Wow, yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
that's
It's
a
not like
miracle.
he had time to gear up for this fight and lost.
Yeah.
You know, and that would get him cut. This
Yeah.
was, hey, take this fight. Yes, I will. Holy shit, it didn't go the way I wanted, but we're going to give you
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one
yeah.
because you were willing to jump into
Yeah.
that fucking fire and do it. And when these guys are gearing up for these fights and the even Elijah, who's been doing competitions and stuff a lot at our school at PMA,
Mhm.
and man, when they are in the middle of training for these competitions and you're training with them, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like they've gone to gear 13.
Oh, yeah, they turn it on.
Oh, they turn it on.
Oh, yeah, when you go up against the higher belts, I mean, you feel it. You're like, wow, okay, I think I'm doing pretty good. And then you feel the gears, like, you know the feeling.
Dude.
You feel the gears coming.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, you know, this isn't going to be good, but at least I can help them get ready.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
that's what it's all about. You know, they have a calm. You can help them get ready. You know, it might hurt a little bit,
Oh,
but hey, that's what training partners are
Yeah,
for.
when Rick was gearing up for that fight in Bellator, I stood up with him. And I will tell you right now, I was on my back and in an armbar in less than a second.
Wow.
It was fucking insane.
Yeah,
We
crazy.
clapped hands and I saw the ceiling, the floor, and I tapped.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like,
Wow.
what the fuck just happened?
Crazy.
Like, it's just a totally different energy.
Yeah.
And that's why when you said that, I was like, that's the only statement that there is, because out on the competition mats or in the octagon, it's on.
Yeah.
There is no worrying about your partner, because your partner doesn't give a fuck about you, because there's
trying to
only
win.
one goal: to win that fight.
Yeah.
To win that fight and move on.
Yeah, and put on for the gym too was like, I feel like a good thing too is like, it was always like, you know, let's go out and represent like our gym in a good way, you know,
And
that kind of hurt too when we didn't do good, but still, like,
But
just
here's the
getting
thing.
out there, you know?
I kind of want to I want to touch on that a little bit, just because of the simple fact that I was also like, I didn't do competition because I was like, oh, I don't want to, you know, lose, right? And I don't want to bring bad to our school, right? I don't want to look like a bad student.
Definitely,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's mentally in our heads.
true.
Our school, and I'm sure this goes for every school out there, you being on those competition mats, you've already done a good job.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
So true.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you win or lose to the eyes of the school. They want you to win, of course. They always want you to win. They want to be top school, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was told by my professor, you showed up, you did the competition, you already represented our school in a proper way. Just because you didn't get that gold, silver, bronze, or you didn't get anything, doesn't mean you did bad to the school. It just means you need to do work more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You need to get on the mats more.
Yeah.
You need to put more work in. But you were there. You represented our school. You were proper. You know, you didn't cause a ruckus. So therefore, you did everything right.
Oh yeah.
And when he told me that, I was like, I'm still not going to do competition because I don't want to get hurt, because I have to be able to work.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
so true.
I can't pay for school and I can't be here.
Yeah,
So
true.
But it gave me a different set in my mind. And I went, okay, if I do decide to get into competition, plus I'm 43. I'm like, man, if I get fucking hurt, it takes a lot longer for me to repair
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
does for you.
Yeah.
You know what I
see
mean?
some of these injuries too.
Dude.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, you know, like.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, when you're going up against someone, it's a full-on battle. But then sometimes I just think you see bad etiquette where, you know, it's like just...
This November, are you looking to up your style game and express your unique personality? Look no further. Introducing Slow Down Clothing, your go-to destination for all things cool and trendy. Picture this. You're cruising down the street on your skateboard, wearing the most comfortable gloves to protect your hands from road rash from Slow Down Clothing. They're not only functional, but they're also stylish, just like you. And that's not all. Slow Down Clothing has an incredible range of fashion pieces to offer. How about sporting one of their crazy embroidered hats with prints? Not just an ordinary hat, mind you. These hats have hidden surprises. Prints underneath the bill. Talk about turning heads wherever you go. Ladies, we've also got you covered. Slow Down Clothing offers stunning collection of women's leggings that combine comfort and style seamlessly. And for those little ones in your life, they have the cutest tees that your kids will absolutely adore. Slow Down Clothing knows it's all in the details. That's why they offer full kits, complete with pins and socks, so that you can showcase your unique fashion sense head to toe. And as the weather gets colder, Slow Down Clothing has your back. Check out their cozy sweatshirts and sweatpants, perfect for those November chills. They've also got an amazing jacket. You'll be both stylish and warm uniform wherever you go. But wait, there's more. You may think that Black Friday deals only come once a year, but not at Slowdown Clothing. Use the promo code TOPHER for an extra 10% off your entire purchase all year round. That's right, amazing savings on amazing products whenever you need them. Slowdown Clothing takes inspiration from tattoo art and collaborate with talented artists to bring you unique prints that make you stand out from the crowd. It is time to unleash your creativity and let your fashion tell the story. What are you waiting for? Head over to slowdownclothing.bigcartel.com and browse their incredible collection today. Don't forget to use promo code TOPHER for an extra 10% off your entire purchase. Trust me, the quality of these products is absolutely amazing. Slowdown Clothing, where style meets personality.
Ripping the heel hook completely, blowing
my
out
God.
their whole MCL, their knee. It's kind of like you could have at least eased into it so they could have tapped. Because even in a competition, it's like, I get you want to win the medal, but I don't think any of that is worth just absolutely like maybe permanently messing with someone's leg and like injuring it. You know, like, I don't know. Even when it comes to MMA, I like sportsmanship. I even saw something the other day where he was in full mount. He saw that his opponent's mouth guard fell out, so he picks it up, puts it back in for him, and then he just from there just TKO'd him. But it's like, that's good sportsmanship,
Yeah, well,
you know, and that's good to
Well,
have
see,
around.
the thing about that is the ref should have stopped everything
Mm-hmm.
because they need to get the mouthpiece back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for them to allow the fighters to do that that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
like
For him to do it instead of like
Instead-
clearly he could have
Instead of saying, oh, he doesn't have his mouth guard in, now I can even hurt his head even more.
Yeah.
That's the difference in like, you know, you can be a good competitor, but that's also my perspective on just, you know, I don't want to hurt anyone else out there. You know, I might want to win in a competition, and if anything were to happen, obviously I'm gonna win, like, you know, in a physical altercation, if it's like, you know, my life's in danger, whatever it may be. But like in the competition setting, yeah, I've seen videos where it's just almost horrible, you know, just instantly ripping submissions, breaking legs. It's like, I think that's a little more new age jiu-jitsu.
I mean, if you watch some of the jiu-jitsu shit that goes on, like, we've even had some classmates that, you know, watch a little too much Instagram.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm sorry, but you have to be careful of what you absorb on social media because a lot of that shit is fucking fake.
Yeah.
It's not a real move. It's really never going to work. It's dangerous.
for maybe both of you. You
Yeah.
know, you see these where, you know, one of them could break their neck, one of them's going to break their knee. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. I think safety is so
The
important. in
number one reason for people getting injured on the mats is when you stand. Every
Yeah.
time when you stand
takedowns.
because that momentum, if you're not falling correctly, throwing correctly,
Yep.
all of a sudden, I did a podcast on it weeks ago, but it was just this reel of just injury after injury after injury, and it was just people standing and trying to throw, and then they land wrong, and then that person's leg is broken,
Busted.
all this shit, and then you have the people that like want to, like you said, they want to reap the knee or the ankle, and you're like, bro, I gotta fucking go to work tomorrow. What are you
exactly.
doing?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that's the one thing I like about being a higher rank is that as soon as I start to feel shit going sideways, I just tap,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then I go, don't do that.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and
It's
let
very
them know.
simple. Don't do that. No, we're not doing that. But we're gonna reset and we're gonna start over.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know
that's
what I
good,
mean?
And that's good to be able to like do and like
You have to be able
Yeah.
to control the match.
definitely.
You have to.
Yep.
Like that's what the tap is for.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel uncomfortable, or if you're actually going out, or if something doesn't feel right, that's what that tap's for. It's
Yeah.
not just because they got the choke in and now you got to tap because you're getting choked.
Yeah, it's
You
a way to end
literally
it.
use that it's your safety net.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that part of the tap. They just think the tap is for when you're going out.
You lose, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't want to tap. It has that like connotation of like I
Yes.
lost, I got defeated.
I have learned 1,000 times over. I tap when I feel uncomfortable.
Same.
Period.
We've always
Absolutely.
been like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've like when we first started training, you're spazzy. You know, you're just
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to figure out what to do. But anytime I felt anything getting close to submission, I would always just tap because, like you said, it's not worth it. I have a job to do, and I'm just here to get better. You know, if I lose, I could lose 1,000 times in here, but if I get better, I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
But see, that's the other thing that they would also tell us, though. You're not losing. You're learning.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
exactly.
yeah, you
You're just
never
learning
lose. You
more.
always win to learn.
If you are in class and you did not get tapped, you didn't learn something.
Yeah.
There's
Or you're just, in my opinion, sometimes it's like you're not being the best training partner because you're just being, you know, say someone like technically, you know, they got a great guard pass, but instead, like, I'm just gonna like gas myself out, use all my muscle and strength
Yes.
to keep them from like, you know, getting to the next position. Like sometimes when I'm training, it's like, okay, you
Let
know,
them
he's
advance.
past the guard. I'm gonna let him, you know, take side control. We can work from there. Like I think
So
it's
then
almost
you can work on your side
Yep.
control,
yeah,
escape,
I
and
can
he
work on escapes.
his
It's like
position.
being a good training partner, like, you know, where it's like you're not spazzing because, you know, you're passing my guard or you're, you know, getting to that next position. And because no matter what position I'm in, it's giving me an opportunity to learn more. And I
Yes.
can work on my escapes. And then, you know, hopefully maybe I can get a reversal now. You know, you can work on your escape. And now I'm in the dominant position, you
Yep.
know? So I think part of being a white belt and starting out is also, you know, like some guys where maybe, you know, you feel like a little more physically capable and you could just overpower them, but kind of giving people leeway too so they can learn and you can learn, you know? I think
Yes,
there's like
definitely.
the limiting the ego and wanting to be better than others and just letting
That's a
people
big
kind of
key.
work on themselves while you're also working on yourself.
Yeah,
you know? I feel like
that right there is a giant key, is letting go of that absolute ego.
Yep,
Because
yep.
that ego is going to get you hurt
Yep.
because you're not going to tap.
Definitely.
And I personally...
They make you enemies too.
Yes, it does make you enemies.
Yep.
Yes. And I like it when, like, if I go against somebody smaller than me, I like to see if I can get something. If I can get that, well, I got it. Then I let it go. And I'll keep moving. Or I'll try to do something that I can't fucking do. I'll try something new because now I feel like I can. But when I go against somebody bigger than me, I'm just trying to get them.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
know for a fact that it's going to be very difficult for me to get them. I can't play as much. I have to play my game in a
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
But when they're smaller or my size, now when they're my size, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You feel like a completely different person. You're like, holy shit, I can do this, I can do that. Oh wow.
Definitely.
You go against the bigger person, you're like, I can't even close my legs around their waist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you go against a smaller person, you're like, I could throw you across the room.
Yeah, and
so
that's
you
not gonna
have
help
to
me
be
learn,
able to
Yeah.
balance all of that.
Energies. It's really just energies, and I think that's why martial arts is so addicting. Whether it be the Muay Thai, whether it be Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, you have Sambo, because you're using your body, but then it's also the mind spiritual connection. You have the muscle memory, but then there's also the energetic side to it where you need to be keen on that. You need to feel energies. Oh, is he off balance? Can I get the sweep now? Is this the right time? It's all these things that come together,
Yeah.
and I think that's addicting to a human because that's
Yeah.
we're all just humans.
Yep.
But when you connect that pyramid inside, I think that's something that makes you feel so good, and that's why you have people that are like, dude, like I'm itching, I haven't gone, like that's you. I'm
Oh, yeah.
itching, I haven't
Yeah.
gone on the mats.
And
Like
it's community.
you know,
driven,
it's
you know?
there's the camaraderie is the word for it. I
Yeah.
think it's where you make brothers and soul
Yes.
sisters and people
Yes.
where
Yeah.
people where you see them and it, you know, it's not just like, oh, how's it going? It's like you go up and you give them a big hug.
Yes.
Because you've also been physical with them. You've been like, you know, on the mats with them going hard. I feel like we still have some friends where you might see them and be like, oh, so good seeing you. You know, whereas your jiu-jitsu brothers and sisters, sometimes it's even more of a tight-knit thing.
Well, yeah,
you've been
because
in the
you're also
trenches.
close.
Yeah.
You spend
You're
a lot of
also
time
close.
Physically,
really close.
physically
Yeah.
too. You know,
I mean,
and that's a big thing.
I can't say that I've been physical with anybody except for my wife like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that
no,
like
and it-
intimate of a
That
fashion being
is
very
very
close.
intimate.
Yeah,
No matter
yeah.
who you are, male, female, doesn't matter. You have made this bond with everybody in that room because you know at one point in time you've rolled with almost everybody, and you are on top of each other, and it's a lot.
Yeah. I think that's something when you first get into it, especially jiu-jitsu, is almost a hard thing. Like, geez, like, this guy or girl's like, they're sweating, you might maybe be getting that on you. You're getting physical with people maybe you don't know a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that is a good thing just when it comes to the sport, because then you're just being more comfortable with, like, maybe you get pushed or you get thrown to the ground. You've been doing it. Obviously, that's the training side to it. But I think it's good, too, because then it takes away all the weirdness. And it's just like, we're all just humans here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes away that, like, looking at people in a weird way, like, oh, they're so sweaty. Like, we've all been there. We've been doing it together. It almost just makes you a little more just open with other people.
Yeah.
It's a deep level of trust because with a training partner, a good training partner, like someone like you, I have full trust that at any point when I tap or I vocalize, done like tap, that you're going to stop and all is going to be well.
Yep.
So even if we had just met 2 weeks ago when we started training together, but we formed this good bond, it's like there's already a deep level of trust between us.
Right.
Because I'm trusting you, like choking me with like holds of my limbs, you know what I mean?
You're not going to kill him. You're not
and
just
I'm
gonna
trusting
kill
you
him,
not to seriously harm me.
Or break an
In
arm.
that, I feel like, trust is like one of the basis for any like great, relationship and connection.
True.
So even, meeting someone a month ago, but it's like I have this incredible amount of trust letting them, put me in these positions or me putting them in positions that could really harm you. But it's like there's that level of like knowing that, when it's done, it's going to be done.
I know.
I'm so glad you guys ended up joining a school and doing it, because I remember talking to you about this so long ago, and it's great to hear that you guys got into it and you're enjoying it so much, because it really is an amazing sport.
It really is. It is. I mean, just everything involved within. I just think we want to learn more when it comes, like I was saying, with striking and other techniques, just because, like, we came on to talk about the music. I feel like as our music grows, you might have security detail. We have a buddy where we train jiu-jitsu with him. We'll just go set up in the park, put the mats down, and he'll teach us more. But, like, he'll be on security. But
That's
then
cool.
If anyone grabs us, I mean, we went to Colombia. We're going back to Colombia in February. So it's one of those things where, like, you just want to be comfortable wherever. You know what I mean? If I need to protect my twin brother, if I need to, now I'm an uncle, if I need to protect my sister, I would do anything. But it's like, you want to be trained in it, comfortable with that. You don't want to be shaky and be like, I have to do something, but I'm not entirely sure what to do.
Right.
And that's a very scary thing. And I've a lot of times heard the things, well, why do you need to learn that stuff? Why do you need to do this? It's like, hey, mental health is at a very all-time low. And anything could happen out there. We've been to San Diego. We took the train up to LA, right? Like, there's people out there where they don't share the same perspective as you and I.
That's right.
And they think it's fun to hurt people. They think it's fun to, like, do bad or maybe evil things. I know that's out there. I know the world's beautiful, and almost everyone in the world is on a similar loving, they just want to have a family. They want to just exist. Yeah. But there's always those outliers, and you need to be ready for those. I love everyone. I want everyone to be doing well. But if you're putting my brother's life at risk, my family, anything like that, it's like, that's an issue, and I want to be well trained to stop that very soon. Whether it be just a submission just to hold control, or if you have to, I mean, the full on choke out, break an arm, whatever it may 100%. Be. And that's why we got into it at first. The sport,
it was more of a self-defense.
Is a bonus.
Yeah, kind of get more comfortable.
Self-defense is why we started.
And I don't know why so many people look at that as such a negative thing.
Yeah, I don't.
Why should we not be able to defend ourselves when the time comes?
Yeah.
Right? We don't want the time to come.
You never do.
They insinuate that because maybe that you're training and you're interested in something like that, that you would go out
And
and use it against people. Whereas, like, when you start training, you start to see the self-control that,
and you realize how
that comes
dangerous
with
it
it.
is.
you
to
also
mess with
realize that every single one of your classmates are the most humble motherfuckers you've ever met
absolutely.
in your
Some
life.
of the best people you've met.
and the MMA guys too. I mean,
Crazy. They are
see they're
super
some-
friendly.
Yeah, they're some of
It's
the best.
wild.
People out there.
It's
You're
like some
like-
of the best people are also the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's because almost that all-knowing, like, you know what you're capable of.
Right.
So it's needing that self-control and that balance
But
in life.
it helps
So-
your mental health so much.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
now,
so much.
even for myself, I feel so much better about myself. I feel much more comfortable with myself.
Definitely.
Because I know what I'm capable of.
For sure.
And I didn't know what I was capable of.
100%.
And being able to do that and get that out and release it and explore it, it just it's eye-opening.
Yeah,
It
And you're,
definitely.
you're like, wow, look at this. I can do this. I couldn't be in crowded places before. Now I don't mind crowded places. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
When you got a fucking 300-pound dude on top of you and fucking mount smushing your face into the mat, all of a sudden being in a crowded room or a mall or wherever,
doesn't
that didn't
seem
even
like
fucking faze me.
Yeah.
Hey, that's so
definitely.
funny. That resonates with me so hard because I've said that before. And I said, at work, serving tables. Okay, something's overcooked. It's a busy night. I'm a little late to a table. How can any of that feel that stressful when
Dude,
there's
right?
times
Yeah.
where,
You
you're
put
like,
yourself in
I can't
highly
breathe. I'm
stressful
hot.
situations.
Sometimes the dojo, the gym, it gets
Oh my
hot,
God, it
right?
gets
And
hot.
then the gi,
Yeah,
you take
yeah.
the gi off, you're like, it's 20 degrees.
And you're
cooler
like-
without this. But, when you're rolling,
Yeah.
it can be stressful. You're almost, it's a mental thing too. You maybe mentally want to tap before you have to physically. It's all those things that help you grow outside
Yeah.
of the gym and just in a regular everyday life.
I think that, like, martial arts, I'll just put it that way because, I'm always talking jiu-jitsu, period. But I think that helps your mental health as much as therapy does, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it allows you to realize who you are.
Yeah.
Where therapy is going to help you figure out what's wrong and who you are. But putting yourself in a bad position and then coming out of it is just, it's different. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
different. And
Yeah.
you go, oh, wow, you're right.
I'm
Serving
passionate.
tables is not difficult. Making orders is not difficult. This is, whatever's going on in life is not the end of the world anymore because I just fought a 300-pound dude and I survived.
Yeah, you might have saw the world flashing before your eyes.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
can you be
Yeah.
really stressed
Yeah.
or, almost just on edge about a lot?
And that actually,
It
like,
helps.
centers you, and I think
Definitely.
that's why, like, not going for the last week is really, like, put me on edge because, like, I feel like I've lost a little bit of myself or, like, you can start to feel, like, the tensions coming
It's not
back.
as grounding. I think it's a very grounding
Yeah.
thing being there. Like I said, using your body, your mind, your spirit, using it all together. So when you're not doing that, it's an addictive thing. So when you're not, I can see it's almost a little ungrounding.
Yeah,
so-
like, I need it.
Same
it's
here. I'm
part of
just-
my everyday,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
know?
definitely. And
Yeah,
I
like,
can't wait
it's-
to get back into it.
It's almost, sometimes think it's almost like a primal thing, like a primal man, like, I think could be a large reason for a huge amount of depressed men too,
Which
I
is
feel like
huge.
our ancestors, our primal ancestors, like, they were physical, they were hunting, they were
Yes.
fighting as well, they were being, like, very physical to provide, for the clan or for the tribe, whatever
or maybe
it was.
just for sport.
Yeah,
even
or
back
maybe
then.
just for sport, exactly, for entertainment of the masses.
To grow.
So now it's like, I feel like there being so much technology and things kind of distracting us, like I was saying, I feel like a lot of men not pushing yourself to your, like, potential as a man or as a woman too, just like that primal aspect of being a human, being an animal. I feel like being cut off from that sense of yourself, I feel like can, like, really affect you, honestly. And I feel like there's a lot of people that, like, obviously would benefit from starting a martial arts because it's like that's one of probably the earliest thing that we, like, did as humans was eat, drink, and
get
be
sunlight.
physical.
Yeah, those
you were-
basic things
Yeah.
that humans, I feel like, still sometimes
Right.
aren't getting. If you're feeling anxious and you're inside scrolling, even if it's not that sunny, go outside.
Yes,
go
God damn
in
it, go
nature.
outside.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so many things that you can do that I feel like connect you to that primal essence of being a human. Because everything, I mean, nowadays, look at everything, the technology, we're so far from that, where I think that is where the simplicity comes.
Well,
and
that's
just that.
why I believe these things are so helpful, because
Yeah.
we're not made for this world.
Yeah,
We're not.
absolutely,
Yes.
All of this stuff that we're doing, all this stuff that we have, it's amazing. It's great. It's technological breakthrough.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's almost unbelievable.
But we're not made for
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yep.
convenience.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. It's
like the
convenience.
human mind and body, like, and I'm not a scientist, of course, but I just feel like we weren't really built for the hyper convenience that the world has created, you know? Like, we have the physical capability to do a lot of other things, and
Yes.
we're not utilizing it because, like, everything you need is, you know, a click away, or it's a quick drive away, you know? Like, technology has been built around convenience. And I think almost kind of persevering and going through challenges is what, like, kind of will activate that reward center. And jiu-jitsu is one of those things. It's challenging. You get through it. You know, after the class, how does the rest of your day go? Goes amazing. Because you
Amazing.
feel accomplished. Like, you've persevered, you've gone
Yeah.
through the challenge, which would be similar to, like, our primal ancestors. Like, I found food, I fought off, you know, the enemy clan that was trying to come and, you know,
Right.
steal from
yeah.
us, whatever it was. I just feel like there's those connections, and we're, like, pulled so far into the matrix.
Yep.
You know, we
No,
need
we
to
are.
be more animals and be kind of more, you know, rural, and, you know,
Yeah,
now
you-
we're more in a city. But
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the cities is that, like, now there's all these talks about these 15-minute cities that are going to be popping
I've
up.
been seeing that.
Yeah.
And it's based, they want to build them in all of these areas that have been demolished, burned,
Oh
or
yeah, I was seeing
destroyed.
in Hawaii. They
Yeah.
were planning it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yep. Hawaii was a big one. That was one that me and Michael got into. But it's just like, we're not made for this world as it is, and then they want us to have nothing and be happy, and they want us to live in these 15-minute cities. Which, if you don't know what a 15-minute city is, it means that everything is within 15 minutes of itself. So therefore, you don't need a car. You don't need to go anywhere. You can literally walk 15 minutes and you've got everything you need.
yeah.
That's a 15-minute city in a
Wow.
nutshell. So that's what they want to build. And if I forget where it was, but they've already started constructing them and building these things. And I don't think they're going to be good, because if we're not meant for what we have already, we're definitely not built for that. And that's going to cause more chaos, more things. And it's going to give people another target,
Oh yeah.
right? Because if we migrate to a 15-minute city and now there's millions of people in that 15-minute city, well, it's only going to take 5 seconds to take out that 15-minute city.
Oh, yeah,
and now you've
100%.
taken out millions of people.
It's a way to consolidate. It sounds like a way to consolidate population and put them in like a very small.
It's
size
so
area.
weird.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a strange thing. Especially, I've seen a population map of the United States and where it's more dense.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just so much room in the United
Yeah.
States where there's no
Yeah.
humans
Yeah.
at all, or like not a
Yeah.
very small amount. You know, towns with 500 people all across the United States, and then you look at like New York, Miami, LA is a big one. I mean, how many? I think there's 6 million people in LA. I think when we looked it up,
Something
there
I
could be
think
more.
it's like
Something
that.
is
Yeah,
Yes.
there could be
insane,
more.
man.
Who knows? But it's just crazy.
It's crazy.
It's
That's a crazy
to
amount of
think.
people.
It is, and it's.
Yeah.
I understand it because I'm very dualistic. We're in this city. It sometimes can be grounding in a sense because you hear other humans laughing. People, they're just existing just like me. You know, I'm still struggling with things. So you're almost like, okay, we're all just here. You know, everyone just doing their best, right? I see that as a grounding part of it, just being around other humans. But at the point that it is where
Yeah.
traffic's an hour, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? There's
right?
people in project buildings stuffed in there where there's vacant homes all across the United
I mean,
States. You know?
they're
And-
everywhere now.
Yeah, so it's just
Everywhere.
it's a crazy thing, and I think sometimes I've even seen they're like, I want to get out of this city, but I financially cannot. You
Right.
know, you're stuck in the system.
You're
you
stuck
know?
in it.
It's a
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
when you see how densely populated some places are, and then so much space.
But it's
for
like
everyone to
you
go.
start to look at these things like experiments, right?
Mhm.
So like an experiment with rats. So when the rats were spread out and they had room, they got along. And then to compare it to today's city that we know of, New York, Boston, Miami, Los Angeles, they would take the rats and they would condense them. And then the rats turn on each other and killed each
Massacre,
other.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is going to happen if you're even more condensed in a smaller city?
And technically, I mean, I don't
This
know
doesn't make any
personally,
sense.
but technically more intelligent or aware in some sense, because those are just rats, which are super intelligent creatures. I mean, they can problem solve all this, but now we're talking humans with a little more cognitive function that are in a similar.
But we all have
overpower.
animal instincts.
Yep.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's what we are.
At the end of the day, I know a rat is not a human, but the animal
Could be even
instinct
worse.
is almost identical,
Absolutely.
which is kind of scary because they've already done these experiments comparing them to the cities that we have today. I mean, Jesus Christ, you got a city that holds more people, but it's condensed, and you don't have to move around as much.
Yeah.
But my God, what is that going to do to the mental illness? What's that going to do
It's
to
gonna get even
people?
worse.
Like, what is that? How does that cause us to act?
Oh yeah, and then it also comes with it's a weird thing because then where's the escape? You know, you
Right.
don't have a car. Is public transportation up to date there? It's just one of those weird things where is it like almost do they just want to keep people where they are in that?
Yeah.
And it's even deeper of a matrix because like there's a matrix at B, and then now you're in this little city matrix where everything's right there. You literally could stay there your whole life. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's this like weird.
It's
thing.
weird.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It
I
is a
don't
weird
think we're
concept to me,
made
man.
to do that.
Oh yeah,
I don't-
cities in general I think are awesome to visit, but I just personally could never see myself. Manchester's one thing, but you know, living where there's millions of people, I just can't imagine it. I mean, you know, it's wild.
Luckily Manchester is nowhere near like we're
100,000
we're a
maybe?
little tiny city.
Little tiny.
Yeah,
city,
100,000 people or something like that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I honestly don't know the
I
population.
think it's a little over 100,000, but now put that into perspective. Now you're in LA and there's 6 million people around. It's a huge.
Well, they talk about. I apologize. They talk about the
apologize.
traffic and everything else in LA, and they're always saying how like that place that they're trying to get to is 20 minutes away, and they are sitting
It's
in
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's
the-
awful. Even in
It's
Boston,
awful.
you hear it nowadays, and that's ranked one of the worst. I mean, you even hear it in Boston to get 2 miles. Maybe you're going from Quincy into the city. It could take you 45 minutes if it's busy, and that's 2-3 miles.
And that's if you can even get through the tunnel.
yeah. So
Or if anything is broken or damaged. And it's like, what happens when that shit happens in those type of cities where everything is supposed to be so easy to get to, and then all of a sudden the train's down.
Oh, yeah.
Or the tunnel collapses, or the train track's broken, or the buses break down. I don't fucking know. Name a situation that happens on a daily basis in every city around the world
that could stop you from
being
getting
able to
out.
do something.
So true.
Exactly.
And maybe even being able, like, you get the call, you know, maybe, oh, I have to go visit this person, that maybe this elderly family member. If you're in a city and like there's not those facilities to get you out, you might be stuck there, you know? So that's almost like a scary thing in my eyes, where I like to be able to escape, have my alone time. You know, even living in our new house, since we have tenants, that's even new because, like, you know, you hear the little one running around, which is awesome. You know, I want them to enjoy themselves, but it's just so different than what we're used to, where you could go outside butt ass naked and no one's gonna see you.
Right,
You know?
right,
Like,
yeah.
So it's definitely different getting used to it, but yeah, like that. It's all duality because like I love people, but I also love my alone time a lot too.
We should love our alone time.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. The
Not
fact
at
that
all.
people want to be alone is a good thing because we do need to separate. We do need to escape, and we need to look into ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're capable of doing that when you're living on top of everybody. I don't think you're capable of being able to have that escape, which is what keeps everything so stressful and so intense all the time because you're on top of everybody always.
Definitely.
And I just don't think that these 15-minute cities are going to be a good thing. I think they're actually going to wind up being a negative thing, but they're making them sound so positive because, well, we want to make, you know, a greener world, and we want to take, you know, tamper or stop climate change, which you can't. It's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
Like the new thing that's popping up now is underneath the East Antarctic, or I think it was the East Antarctic, they are now seeing that it's melting rapidly, but there's land underneath it. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked at all. Why? Because the land that we're on right now, that me and you are recording a podcast on, used to be covered in a glacier.
Yeah.
It was not habitable. It was a giant ice glacier that eventually melted, and then all of a sudden there was land, and we could come here.
Yeah.
So for them to be like, hey, guess what? There's land under there. No shit. You guys didn't think there was land under there? You don't think that this has been happening across the world since it began?
Oh, absolutely.
That there was ice on everything, that supposedly our continents were all one piece.
Pangea,
The tectonic plates broke everything up. The
makes
ice
mountains.
melted. The temperature got warmer. The land became exposed. And then you let the humans become a virus, which we are.
So-
if you
so
want to
true.
look at a virus the way the virus is, we are a virus to this
Definitely.
planet.
Yeah, we always
Absolutely.
say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think with that, I think that global climate change, there's always a natural cycle within Earth. It just, now you see it like we were talking about earlier. Now you have all these corporations will dump stuff into the waters. They have no care about the environment. All these things where there's a natural cycle of things, but then also now you see fish population going down. You see all these things that are like, it's not looking good from the greed, and humans wanting to almost overconsume, then, go sell it, make a profit, not thinking about the equilibrium. Just like in cells, there needs to be a fine equilibrium.
Right.
Just like on Earth, there needs to be that fine balance in ecosystems and within humanity too. It's like there's always an ecosystem. There's always going to be people doing those certain jobs, that we need. There's a fine balance that needs to be met just in this world. And nowadays, I think you have less blue collar workers. You have a lot of kids who they don't even want to work. Maybe influencers is a big thing nowadays, YouTubers. And then nowadays, unfortunately, you also have people who sell content, sexual photos and sexual videos, and that's also a huge thing nowadays. So I almost feel like the natural equilibrium of society is eventually getting thrown off, if you know what I'm talking about.
100%. I believe it too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking, like, going off of what we were just talking about, and like the cities, people being a virus as well, I just think that, because we work in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We love it. It's like a little town.
Yeah.
And it's a community. So when we go out, obviously we're well known. It's sg603. You see those same faces and you're forming those connections. And the connections are getting deeper, and the trust is growing, and there's that tribe. So it's like, I'm always thinking, just like we were saying, back to our primal roots. Did you see thousands and thousands of faces every day that you would never see again? Or were we seeing a small amount of individuals, maybe, 100, a large group, but each person you have like somewhat of a connection formed with, and you keep seeing those people.
Yeah.
So thinking about living in a city where you don't have that tribe and people, it kind of almost like takes the human connection out of things, because you're like, how could I worry about Chris over there? It's like, I'm doing my own thing and I'm in the city. There's a million Chris's. It almost kind of takes like the deep, genuine connection.
It desensitizes you to like the value of human life.
Yeah.
Almost the rat race. You see people just running around. They're driving crazy. Got to get to work. It almost like
guilty.
Yeah. It almost like makes you look at humans as like less special and valuable. You just see
it's like animals, just animals in the the concrete jungle. Everyone just like no one's like, there isn't, I feel like, that level of empathy you find in small towns or like really small cities and communities, because there's just so many damn people. How could you have the energy to meet and or care about like that many people in your circle or in your, just,
well, I think they say that our bandwidth is like 150 people.
That sounds pretty realistic.
I think that's about like what you can actually handle.
Yeah.
Is about 150 people, and I think it's somewhere in the 20s, maybe closer to the 30s for actual close individuals
Yep.
around you, but
Yep.
like you're capable of absorbing at least 150 people. But it's crazy to think of so many people out there and so many that you'll never know, never talk to, and it's just like you're right though. When you're out on the road, you're just like, I'm just trying to get to my destination. Why are you going 25 in the the fast lane?
It's like NPC mode almost. Like when you're going to do things you have to do, it's like you're almost just on NPC time, and you're just you're trying to get to work, whatever it is. So I feel like me living in a big city, I think it would be hard to adjust to that type of
this is
style
probably
of
as
living.
big as I would want to get. Like I still got a backyard, I still got a few things.
Yeah.
It is fences divide us. It's
Yep.
not like we have a lot of distance between the houses, but it's still better than living in a sky rise on top of everybody. I just couldn't imagine being stuck in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And how much collective energy is in the area too. You're sitting back trying to do some work, do your meditations, you're manifesting, say you want to have like a little psychedelic journey. I just think about all the collective other energies in my close vicinity. And I know I have a strong force field around me protecting me from a lot of that negative energy. But when there's that many people, I mean, you don't know what, these people are doing in their personal lives. I just feel like it would be a weird feeling being that close to that many people, man. Like the collective vibe.
And I'm starting to believe this stuff a lot more. I call it the woo-woo. It's a little woo-woo, right? But I'll tell you this much, man. I've had a couple people tell me, Jesse, who goes to Jiu-Jitsu, he has his own podcast, Entrepreneurs in Recovery. And he came on here and he was telling me about grounding. And then one of the people that I work with, she was telling me about grounding. So I tried it. I walked around my backyard, bare feet, and all of a sudden, like things that weren't clicking, clicked. And I went, all right, I got to give it another shot. So I gave it another shot and it did it again. And I went, holy shit, and then you speak of energies and you gather them from other people because people do give off their energies, which is why I always try to give off a positive energy. Because unfortunately for me, a long time ago, I used to give off a negative energy and I never understood why people acted the way they acted towards me. Now I get it. When you put out negativity, you're going to get negativity back. You put out positivity, you get all the positivity back.
Definitely.
Which is
so true.
Weird, but it all makes sense. And so now I don't think of the woo-woo as such woo-woo. You know what I mean? Just like I've learned to take conspiracy and put that aside because it's just a theory. And maybe it does need to be asked. Maybe it does need to be looked into. Maybe it does need to be questioned because you're telling me it doesn't.
Yep.
So
true.
So I'm starting to really open up my mind to a lot of these things now that I was just like, no way, this is crazy.
That's awesome.
And it's so mind blowing that it can be real.
Definitely.
It can be real. It's not make believe. It's not made up. It is real. We are all giving off these things, and if you choose to acknowledge it and see what you're getting from it, then you'll understand what it is.
Definitely. Yeah, it's almost that law of attraction is like what they talk about, it's like almost what you give off will hopefully come back to you tenfold in the end. And I mean, that's something I will tell you, Chris, is when we were in the formation of making our album and making the music, one big thing that we did was always manifest together, whether it was me and Rowan or us and Adam together. Because me and Rowan, like so many nights we've had spiritual journeys, just us two talking about, maybe ways that we can improve, ways that, we can be successful in this reality. And I will say, and like I really truly do believe this from the bottom of my heart, that I think that we tapped in with an energetic source that has blessings connected to it. So I think that we took the time to go within ourselves, find love, find peace, get past those personal barriers. And then even deeper, I think that we hit a main connection with a higher power.
which
If
is
you know what I'm
amazing.
saying. And and I truly believe that our success in this reality, our music, us being able to purchase a property, I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that it was all granted because of us going in and doing that.
And I believe that
spiritual
too.
work.
Yeah.
And if we
Yeah,
hadn't-
I'm
Yeah.
glad you do, man, because
I do.
I've had people that look at me like, dude, this kid ate too much mushrooms, but I'm like,
No.
man,
No.
we're doing.
You can never eat enough.
Yeah,
you
no,
can't,
seriously, and
But
that's what it was. Is when we were squad gang, and I'm sure Adam told you
Yeah.
that whole story that when he came on for the podcast. But as we were all starting to wake up more and become deeper, getting more into our spiritual work, it became Spirit Gang.
Yep,
So
Spirit
just
Gang.
thinking with all of the blessings and the abundance that's coming our way, would that have came our way if we had still been, doing hood rat stuff, if we had still been, hurting people, not
Robbing,
trying our
stealing.
best? Because, we still struggle, obviously. I still struggle. I don't always affect the room in the most positive way. I try to, but you just genuinely trying your best, I do not believe that we would be in the position we're in if we had continued down that path of negativity and hadn't really came into our true selves, because we weren't living in our authentic, who we are really
Yeah.
meant to be. And ever since, we feel like a lot of good things have been coming our way from just kind of riding on that energy, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
almost sometimes hard to even believe, man.
No.
It's that imposter.
Well, that's where I was.
syndrome.
I didn't believe.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is all. But when I didn't believe, I was just drinking.
Yeah.
I was drinking all the time. I wasn't taking care of myself, and so
Yeah.
therefore it wasn't believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, 7 years later, it's believable because I can see it in myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, this isn't as much woo woo as I thought it was, because now it's all the way it is.
Mhm.
I'm a more positive person. I'm more confident in myself,
Yeah.
and that bleeds onto people.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
They see it,
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
it,
they
they
feel
know
it.
it.
and that
Oh, yeah.
makes them
Yeah.
feel comfortable with being
Right.
themselves, and then they're like, wow, look at Chris, he's so positive, he has this podcast, he makes me feel like I can be more of myself, and he gives
Everybody
me
needs to be more of themselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
yes.
that's the problem. We
Yes.
all want to be this thing that we're not.
Mhm.
And we're not spending enough time being what we are.
So
And that's
true.
if you spend more time being what you are instead of wanting to be something else, all of a sudden you are the something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It changes that for you.
So-
You became
true.
the vibe instead
Right.
of striving to be, something this or that. You've just came into your own vibe.
Mhm.
And that, like Alder was saying, it just inspires other people. And then they're like, they don't feel the need to be someone they're not, or to buy things to make themselves look a certain way or more
Yes.
cool. Because when you come into how great you are as a person, that's the vibe. And that's why I think, is another big reason we're successful, is because people
Fuck yeah.
gravitate towards us, like I'm sure they do with you. You
Yeah.
have a
And they
really
feel
infectious
comfortable,
energy,
yeah.
man. And it makes people feel like, dude, I want to be with Chris, because I just feel great about who I am in his company.
And that's
what
why I
we try
love
to do,
listening to
man.
your music, because you guys put out this vibe and it's so inviting and it's so fun and it's just enjoyable. And yeah, sure, I might know you all on a personal level,
Yup.
but
still,
it's still amazing what you're doing and the vibe that you put out.
Yup.
Now, I have to,
appreciate that,
since we've
man.
been, I can't say anything less. You guys are putting in the work. You're fucking killing it. You're putting out tracks. You're getting hits. You're doing the work.
We
And if you
appreciate it,
don't
man.
do the work,
Yup.
you're not going to get what you want.
Yeah,
So
no
true.
results, man.
Yeah.
How are you going to expect good results if you're not putting in the work, and if you don't actually believe in yourself?
Right.
Because you
So
can
true.
be like, oh, well, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to get here, but do you really believe you're going to get there?
Yeah,
do
it
you
has
really
to be
believe in
it
yourself?
has to be past the point of
Dude.
belief. It has to be past, because I'll
It's
tell
a
you, Chris,
knowing.
there
Right.
were nights, and I
Yes.
said this when we did a podcast in San Diego. I said this. There was years ago we didn't even have our music on Spotify. We were getting maybe
Wow.
hundreds of plays on SoundCloud, so not a lot at all.
Yeah.
But there
No
was
buzz.
still those nights when we were manifesting together. I would literally, I said in the last one, you can hear the crowd, you can smell perfume, like you're literally there. Like you put your mind,
you manifest that.
Yeah, you literally put
Visualization.
yourself in
That's
that
awesome.
scene, and then eventually we had a glow party. It sold out. That all those nostalgic manifestations
that all
are
came to life.
literally
Yeah.
coming true now. So like when visualizing, it's not even like I think I can do this, I'm gonna be this. It's almost like I already am that. I'm just on the way to that. And that was our belief. We never once believed that it wasn't going to happen this way. And that's what's so unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Like we never once thought like, well, maybe we're going to need to like figure out, you know, maybe we'll get a 401k at this good job and make music is fun. We never even believed that that would happen. We only believed that this would be the result.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude,
That's
I'm
awesome. I
telling
probably
you,
should
man.
manifest the podcast more, but I definitely manifest a lot of my jiu-jitsu moves. Like,
yeah.
Hell
just
yeah.
go
yeah, man.
home
Yeah.
and picture yourself doing an armbar
Yeah.
over
So
and
true.
over
Yeah,
and
so
over
true.
again. And it's so interesting how you can go in and then all of a sudden you're pulling off that armbar. But you didn't practice it physically. You just kept replaying
Yeah.
the motions in your mind
So
over and
powerful.
over and over again. And then you just go in and boom, your brain goes, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's that's why I say it's not really woo-woo because that shit's real.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's mind over
it's
matter.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
It's
mind
very
is
powerful.
so powerful.
Yeah. And
So-
I feel like a lot of we got a instructional video actually for BJJ from
It was
Heron and the Gracie brothers.
Okay.
The
Okay.
grandsons,
Yeah.
I think.
And them just speaking, obviously we want to learn and improve our technique, but I think watching it gave us very mushroom energy, and just the way they are energetically and the way they're existing, I feel like reminded us of that. And
Wow.
them being so, deep into their jiu-jitsu training and manifesting success on the mats and success in their personal life, you just could feel them speaking to you like how heightened their energy is and how much
absolutely, man.
they've came into their confidence and knowing that they can do things.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
no
Much
matter
fun,
what
yeah.
it is, you
Yeah.
can just feel like, they're fired up, about life. Like
Just
they
life.
just
Right.
came into that, like anything that I think I can do it with the right amount of work and training.
Absolutely, and they have so much fun too. Like the videos, it's not all serious. They're rolling, they're practicing, they're having fun together, and it's also just them. They're so, they're looking down at their hands. They're like, we have hands. These can do so much for us.
I mean,
like
right?
they break it down to that level where
Wow.
it's like psychedelic almost, and it's like you can tell they are very heightened spiritual vessels. And
yeah.
I think
That's
that
very
is
true.
important.
Very
you
true.
know? Like I think you're so positive, and that's a side of like your spiritual essence and energy too. You know what I mean? You're a big vessel, and people gravitate towards you.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it can be hard because then you have people where you've met them for 2 minutes, and they're like, "Hey man, like my wife left me."
I've
You
had
know,
some
like-
people open
yeah.
up to me,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Why are you
Why?
telling me
Why?
this?"
It's
But they
because
just
you're so
they just felt
comfortable, man.
comfortable, and I'm like, "It's
Exactly.
so
What it is.
weird to just have a conversation with somebody I've never met before, and then they're just opening up."
They're dumping
And,
it.
and that was the
Sometimes they
same thing
dump
that
it,
happens.
Yeah.
It happens on here, when I had Jesse on, I let him into a few things that was going on with me, and he just opened up the floodgates, and I'm like, this is kind of like a magical power in a sense. I
Yeah,
don't think that I
definitely.
have magical powers, but it's very
You
magical.
got like that almost like
Yeah.
that natural therapeutic
very,
energy.
very
It's like,
interesting.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like almost a shaman vibe.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like
That's
you
why.
know,
That's why I love doing this. If I could
Mhm.
do this for the rest of my life, I would love to do this.
You're
you know?
great, man. I mean, you're great. Like you have a great voice for it. Just the whole setup and just the way like you ask questions too. You naturally keep it going with a very good flow too.
Well, I'm going
So
to
it's
ask
good
another
up,
question
man.
because I have to know. Is it true with twins? Do you guys feel certain things between each other? Like if you get like they always used to say, and I know this is kind of in a joking manner from me personally, but I am curious. They would say like if you were to get hurt, you could feel it.
Mhm.
Do you ever experience anything that one is going through.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think more on a like emotional and energetical level than physical. Like if he were to, get busted up, like I'm not gonna feel the physical pain, but I think that
Okay, so that's more for the movies.
yeah, that's I think that's
Okay,
more
all
of like
right,
that one is a
that's
fun
what I was,
joke.
yeah.
But as far as I think that, when your buddy is like emotional, he's going through where he's like, struggling, something's going on, like you feel it,
Yeah.
you can like empathize, you can be there for him. But I think that if you weren't an identical twin, or maybe just a twin in general, I don't think you could like relate to that level of empathy.
Oh no, I was just gonna
feel
say, like I got some really good close friends,
Yeah.
and I still can't relate to that type of
Oh,
empathy.
yeah.
So
That's-
it's like being that close,
That's cool.
like him, if he is like, there's like, a crisis going on in his mind or like emotionally, it's like I'm gonna feel that heavily. Even
Yeah,
if we weren't in
okay.
the same area, like if we were separate and like
very cool,
if
man.
something
Oh, yeah.
really like, I felt like something was wrong, or like when there's been cases of, maybe something was wrong, like we can definitely feel that.
Oh,
Oh,
for sure.
wow.
I mean,
For
yeah,
sure,
man. I'll tell you a crazy story, and like this isn't about the twin thing, but there was a time we were with Adam, and I remember one night we like had a fire. We wanted to eat some mushrooms, and it definitely like got towards a very like strong spiritual awakening point. You know what I mean? So things are weird. It isn't always
One of
just
our first ever. And
yeah,
it was with Adam,
it was one of our first
time.
ever.
Really?
And I remember, it's not all like, butterflies and unicorns like some
Right.
people like they make it seem in the movies.
Right.
It's real life, going through your consciousness. But I remember we were all just feeling a little worked up, you know what I mean? Adam was feeling a little worked up. And I remember our mom literally called us. And our mom called like,
while
like,
we
oh,
were
shit,
tripping
we're
really,
we're
really
tripping
hard.
on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So we answer and we're just like, hey, like, what's up? And she literally goes, hey, like, I'm just calling like to make sure everything's all good because like I feel like something isn't right.
Yeah, like she could
Yeah.
feel, and
Whoa.
and Adam was in like a weird state of mind.
He was like, I think he was like reaching a point of like universal consciousness where it's like everything's entangled. You feel close to everything, everyone. So it was like, I think he like felt like he could feel like, oh, I can feel Eminem's energy, which like, I'm not doubting it at all. You reach a point where you are the one, so you're going to feel everything, But it was just a little, at the time, you didn't know what to expect.
Wow.
You didn't know
he
what
was
going
really
on.
just like, he was fired up. He's like, we're gonna, be big musicians. Like I can feel all the energy of all
like, I
these
can feel
people that have
Rihanna.
like, been on like that upper like echelon or like that higher
He
wavelength of
he's told me
creating,
told me some stories about
Yeah.
some of the journeys he's been on,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
holy
This
Yeah.
and this
fucking
was like
shit.
one of our first ones. Like this
Yeah.
is when we were first getting
This
into
really
that.
like broke
But
like
that's
broke the
how
seal.
deep energy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how deep energy is, man. Because
Yeah.
our mom is big into Reiki energy, spirituality, and
Oh,
has
yeah.
been.
I've-
So like,
You're the
it's
third
crazy
person
that
to
she
say
felt
Reiki
that.
energy in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That
Yeah,
is
Reiki's
wild.
big
now.
Yeah, it's pretty big, man. I mean, her Reiki master. I mean, it's pretty wild. Like, it's the same thing. She'll call her and be like, "Hey, like, I know that you're feeling this way, because I think it's a very old age. Like, she's deeply connected with this reality, with the energies in it. So she uses that to help people. You know what I mean? It's like a therapist, but almost like a deeper level of it. You know what I mean? She literally can like feel the energies around. If
That
you know
is
what I mean.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, crazy story. You're
Yeah.
tripping on mushrooms. It's like kind of a weird experience. And then like our mom literally could feel it from all the way
She
up.
called and it
Wow.
wasn't like, "Are you guys okay?" She was like, "Hey, like I'm just feeling like it's like, are your friends okay?" Like she
Are
could
your
feel Adam was
friends
in that
okay?
like
Yeah, she literally
point
could-
of like, that like, really like he was in a deep state of mind and like definitely a powerful place with a lot of
Wow.
energy that was like, to many people, it'd be scary. And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
scary at the time. And like she definitely could feel it. And we were in Kensington Adams and she was in Brentwood at our house. And she called and was like, "Hey, like, I feel like something's going on with one of your friends."
That is intense.
Yeah,
man.
it's
Now-
crazy, dude. You can ask Adam too, and he'll say like, it's
That
like
is
an
fucking
unbelievable-
wild,
Yeah.
bro. Wild.
And I think honestly, I think that's like a big part of who we are too, is just through our like mom and what she believed. And obviously our dad was in the picture. He's more of kind of a construction guy, so we didn't get as much of that like spiritual belief from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably more of a realist.
Oh yeah,
the balance.
That's the
Really,
balance.
Yeah,
really
the
good
balance.
in our
Balance.
upbringing.
Yeah. Because he's like, no, this is how it is. This is how you build shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish he showed us a little more of that, but we're doing our best. We're doing our best.
It's because when
That's
we were
awesome.
growing,
That's
it's because
awesome.
when we were growing up, man, you know, we'd be like, hey, like, Pop, show us how to do this, show us how to do this, and every time he'd say, I'm not showing you how to do this shit. Get a job. Be more than what I'm doing.
Yeah,
like,
they always.
like, go to
Yeah,
school.
construction's
Yeah.
fucking
He
tough.
said
Yeah,
go to
it
school.
is, and it's also
It's
like
a
really
brutal
pleasing.
job.
Some people love it because it's like, you know, you're building stuff. It's very pleasing for the mind. But he was just saying like, I don't want you guys to.
Yeah,
get
most
into
of
this
the people
line
that
of
are
work,
in
you
it
know?
don't want their
Yeah.
children to do it because they know how rough it is. It's like it's a
Exactly.
last resort.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you try all of this and you wind up here, I'll help you, but
Yeah.
you should be
Definitely.
trying all of this first.
And that's exactly what he always told us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
because
I agree with
He's
that.
like a master brick mason, so he was saying, I mean, if you,
Oh
like,
my
you know, getting
God.
into something
Yeah,
like
he's
that, like
tough.
you guys are going to be the tenders, you're going to be moving thousands of
Thousands
bricks.
of
It's like,
pounds.
you
Yeah,
know,
so
that
he was
isn't-
saying
yeah.
like, you know, focus. Like you guys
Yeah.
don't want like I want y'all to be like doing a lot more than what I have done.
Well,
You
it
know
looks
what I
like you're
mean?
doing
So-
a lot more than
Yeah, no.
than he wanted you. So you're doing what he wanted.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I was trying to get
Absolutely.
to. Sorry,
Absolutely.
brain fart.
Definitely. We're
Yeah,
not
no.
working. We're not working like, you know, two like laborious jobs. You know, we have time to focus on our music
And then we
our
can take
personal
care
life.
of them.
Yeah.
You know, later on, we're trying to build that blueprint. We're like,
Fuck
we could
yeah.
have the compound like the Kennedys did. You know,
Yes.
when you have mom there,
Yeah.
you have
Yes.
pops. Maybe you have a caretaker that is a family friend.
Right.
You build a beautiful life with family involved too, because what's more important?
Nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No,
Nothing.
absolutely.
Because you know, I feel the same way. I was like, man, if I ever, and I don't play the lottery, but if I was to ever win the lottery, the first things I would do is pay off everybody's house.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because I want all of my family to be safe.
Oh, yeah,
I want them to have no more mortgage worries. You got to pay your taxes, but other than that, I would not want any of them to worry about
Definitely.
losing their house. And today, everybody's worried about losing their damn house.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have one more silly question for you guys. Now, when I was growing up, I knew triplets.
Wow.
Wow.
And they used to play some fucking pranks on teachers and shit like that. Like they would switch fucking classes
yeah.
and do all, or they were dating a girl and then the other one would tag in and be like, you know what?
Show
why don't-
up for their
why,
date
Why don't you
or
show up
something.
for my date?
Yeah.
Because I'm done with this. You know what I mean? Like, did you
Yeah.
guys ever play any games like that on people? Without mentioning names, of course.
I think as of more recently, honestly.
Really?
I think we were always in the same like classes, or they separated us. Once we got into middle school, they kept us in different pods.
Yeah.
And whatnot, you know, so it didn't give us as much opportunity. But I think now us working together is the perfect place where we can just mess with people.
Yeah.
Like, he'll serve the table, I'll go drop the check, we'll see if they notice. You know, we'll just keep
Oh,
That's
switching
fine.
back.
That's
oh yeah,
fun.
we get the question all the time. I
Yeah,
mean,
people like come up to me, Alder, thank you so much for the great service, and I'll say, you know, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much. And, like they don't know the difference,
That's
man.
fucking
Because we're
hilarious.
there,
It
you
is.
know, so
It's
it
so funny,
helps,
man.
but it also makes it fun because I can always sub in for him, he can always sub in for me, and I think it really like it helps us earn more because people get such a kick out of it. It
Yeah,
adds
that's
to
awesome.
the experience because it's
Absolutely.
entertainment,
Yes.
free
Yeah.
entertainment.
Well, that's-
you know,
yeah.
and I think
That's awesome.
Yeah,
the
it
I
is.
think it's fucking hilarious.
It
dude.
is,
I'd be
it's
playing
funny.
pranks all the fucking
Bro,
time.
yeah,
It's
no,
all
it-
the time.
it
We
makes
do,
it fun.
especially when people have like a few drinks. You know, you
Oh,
you have these
yeah.
6 sour guys. They have 5, 6 old fashions during a meal, and then they're like, "What's going on? I'm seeing
they see
2
the
of
two
these
of us.
guys."
That's
They're all
what-
staying
the-
at the hotel.
The
like,
best
yeah.
part would be like if you both showed up at the same time.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
we do. Yeah, when
do
sometimes
you?
we'll run food.
Yeah, we
and
do
we'll
functions
go
together, too.
I fucking love it.
Yeah,
That's
we'll do
great.
like wedding functions and whatnot too, which is like a lot of fun. You know,
That
I mean, to
is
make money
fucking
with just helping
hilarious.
people
It
party,
makes it fun.
like it's,
Definitely.
it's awesome. But as with like I get the question a lot, and it's usually from like the older dudes, like, "Hey, you guys ever do like the switcheroo?" You know, we've never done that because one thing I think that could be sexual assault if the girl.
Well, no. I wasn't saying that they didn't. anything, but
Yeah.
they would kill the
Okay, yeah.
relationship for the other one.
Yeah, so that's
You know what I mean?
that's the
We're just
question
saying
we
at
get
the restaurant
all the time.
All the time, we have like those older dudes.
Or it's
who
the
are, like,
wives. It's the wives
Yeah.
of the dudes because they're always interested. They're like, "Hey, do you guys ever like do the switcheroo, whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, no, just because I think that's
Yeah.
not okay.
That's not
all."
okay.
No,
That's
it's
not-
weird.
yeah,
It
it's
is.
weird.
It's a weird thing how often we get that question in
Yeah.
like a society like how it like should be, where it's like that is crossing boundaries
right,
and is
right, right,
should be
right.
very frowned upon. But we get the question so
I
much.
bet.
where it's
I
like
frown upon
you know.
it.
I wouldn't feel like I
yeah.
did a good job unless I asked these questions.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
gotta ask, gotta ask.
Yeah, you gotta,
Dude,
man.
This has
Like,
been absolutely phenomenal. I'm so glad
been
you
so
both
great, man,
all
dude.
came on. Thank you so much, so much, so much,
Thanks
so
for
much.
having
So
us. Dude. This was awesome,
this was
man.
absolutely so much fun. I really appreciate
It's a
you. I
great
appreciate everything
conversation.
you're doing. Everybody out there, you need to go check out sg603 on Spotify. It's everywhere, right?
Yes,
Yep,
sir.
it's
It's
everywhere.
everywhere.
It's
You look us
absolutely
up
everywhere.
on
got
Google.
music videos on YouTube.
Yeah,
all that. It's
YouTube.
everywhere.
Yeah, I watched all your videos on YouTube.
Hell
So
yeah.
check out the YouTube channel. The link will be in the description below the video. And as always, I hope everybody out there has an amazing Thursday. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. And as always, I will talk to you later.